Chapter 120. The very next day Gaia killed Jane. She acted as nothing had happened and resumed her normal schedule. Like first thing in the morning, she filled her stomach with all the delicacies that Raylene cooked for her. After Michael turned her into a 5-star chef, Gaia made Raylene cook everything she likes and devoured everything in a couple of minutes. With her belly full, she would oversee the renovation of the sect. She ordered to tear down the entire quarters of the elders and Claire and build it from the ground up. Previously the elders stayed in a single big mansion, but now, she ordered the workers to build each elder a mansion in the country manor style. At the moment, they had almost finished 3 houses and were putting a foundation for the rest of them, including Claire's. She selected pure white paint for the walls and royal blue for the roofs. There were also flower beds and lush green lawns in front of these mansions in Gaia's mind, but first, she wanted these mansions to be built. Also, unlike before, she planned to build a separate building that would act as the main office. Since the Sunrise sect didn't lack land, only the time and resources like the workforce slowed her vision from becoming reality. She sent Jack to hire more adventurers and people from Rivertown to solve the workforce issue. For the student quarters, she ordered to tear down most of the houses and build new ones. Previously, 2 disciples shared one house that had 2 rooms and a small hall, but now, each student house would have 2-story with 2 rooms on each floor. Her plan was to make 4 students share one house to save space, because in the future when the Sunrise sect becomes the best, they would have thousands of students, and at that time, they would run out of houses if they went with the old plan. If an engineer from Earth was here, she would recognize the architecture for the student quarters as the colonial architecture style. Combined with Gaia's vision, each student house looked majestic, and when they were built, it would stun everyone with its beauty. Other than elder mansions and student quarters, she added new buildings to the plan, such as library, combat range, state-of-the-art classrooms for practice alchemy, runes, and spells. Of course, it required not only millions of gold coins but also skilled workers to build many of the buildings in her mind. For now, she focused on building elder mansions and student quarters. To decorate the sect and ornate the sect, she wanted to hire the elves from the Elven nation rather than hiring humans, because elves specialized in ornamenting a place. For the state-of-the-art buildings, she had dwarves in her mind, because just like elves specialized in ornamenting, dwarves were specialists in building and crafting. However, hiring these 2 was not a simple or cheap thing. It cost her almost 400,000 gold coins to hire a 3-star dwarven builder to build their restaurant according to Michael's plan. She spent another 300,000 gold coins to buy the required materials and shipping costs. In simple words, she spent almost 1.2 million gold coins on renovating the sect and building the restaurant. Fortunately, Majestic was doing extremely well, as their customer base only grew bigger with each passing day. She was planning to hire more assistants to help the business, but she had no time to conduct interviews. "Good morning, Sister Elia. Good morning, Sister Elia." While she was taking a stroll around the student quarters, the disciples immediately bowed and greeted her. Some had pure fear in their eyes, while others had a mix of fear and admiration. The disciples didn't just stand there but helped the workers in any way they could. Even the kids Michael rescued along with Cindy were helping the workers by supplying water and cool beverages to them. After her morning stroll, she came to the makeshift stable where she kept her new Pegasus. Since the previous Pegasus died at the Phoenix Island, she had Daniel pay for the dead Pegasus and hired another one. Before they opened the Majestic for business, she decided to check the progress of the restaurant in Rivertown. Plus, she wanted to see how the people are reacting to Jane's demise. "Let's go to Rivertown, Peggy." She patted the new Pegasus on the head and mounted it to fly to Rivertown, leaving the overseeing the renovation to Jack. Miss Elia, when she landed near the building site where a bunch of people was working tirelessly, Daniel and Ricky came running to greet Gaia. "Where is that dwarf?" She saw no dwarf in the working site and asked both of them. The dwarf completely tore down the entire building, unlike Michael and Gaia expected. Because of that, they were building the restaurant from the ground up, which led to more working and resources. "Where is Raylene?" Before they could answer, Gaia asked them, noticing no Raylene around. Lord Gatmill and Lady Raylene went to Bradford. Miss Elia, Gaia noticed a glimmer of fear in Daniel's eyes while Ricky spoke. Bradford? Why? Miss Elia, you knew Jane, right? Ricky asked curiously as Gaia nodded. The devil of Bredia killed her and all of her bodyguards. Unlike Daniel, there was no fear in Ricky's eyes, which surprised Gaia because weak people like him would be terrified in a situation like this. Jane is dead. Are you serious? She acted as she didn't know anything about Jane. Ricky and Daniel nodded. Yes, Miss Elia, I just came from Bredia. The entire city is in panic and the Baron sighed. Ricky sighed and felt pity for the Baron. The man is broken into pieces. I had never seen a man cry like that. Oh. Who is this devil of Bredia? Lucifer. The moment the name escaped Ricky's mouth, she noticed some people stop working and praying, looking at the sky. Many people call him the devil of Bredia since he first appeared in Bredia. Him. She growled inside because it was her who pretended to be the hostage, punching bag of Jane and finally killed them. Yet, she was unable to take the credit, so she hid her emotions from showing on the face. Why do you say it was Lucifer who killed them? The Baron has many enemies, Sister Elia. I saw the bodies. They were laid in a shape of L and Jane. There was a small pause in Ricky's voice for a few seconds before he continued. She was hanged from the top of the manor. Lucifer broke her 2 arms. Sigh. She suffered before dying. Ricky obviously sympathized with Jane, but Gaia, who actually killed her, didn't feel a thing for Jane. Michael would have left her alive if she hadn't held off a grudge against him. Before dying, she sought revenge against him by messing with his business as well as trying to kidnap Gaia. Many, including the old man and Selena, advised her not to cross paths with Ghost, yet she did exactly the opposite and ended up losing her life. Unfortunately, the old man and his team became collateral damage. Miss Elia, if you want anything from Bradford, you should get it soon. The soldiers were talking about a lockdown. Entire garrison of Bradford is searching for Lucifer, and I heard the church is also coming in case he really is the devil, Daniel added. It was no surprise to Gaia that the church is coming to Bradford because when something evil appears, they would come to cleanse the city with their holy guards. Aside from the garrison and the church, she also expected the guardians to act as they would now suspect Lucifer to be the Dark Lord. With their current power, she knew they can't face either of those 3. Fortunately for her, Michael could cultivate by killing netherals, and the orc was waiting in the abyssal to summon netherals for Ghost to kill. Michael and she were planning to stop terrorizing the kingdom for a couple of weeks till the heat goes down. Besides, after Ghost came out of Netherrealm, they would be busy managing their businesses as well as getting rich. Of course, they knew Selena would suspect him and come looking for trouble, but they had already devised a plan to deal with her. However, the spell Gaia was using to mask her cultivation was a legendary spell that could only be dispelled by a half-immortal. Considering Ghost was in the Nether Realm while Gaia killed Jane, the garrison or the guardians wouldn't allocate too many resources to investigate him. What do you think, Daniel? Don't you believe in the devil? Asked Gaia. Of course I do, Miss Elia, but I just think this is a work of a human. Don't be too sure, old man. That was not a work of a human. You know shit, Gaia thought inside as Ricky went on. I saw those eyes. It wouldn't be surprised if they were scared to death. If you don't finish your work here, I will gouge out your eyes. Gaia kicked Ricky on the bottom and chased him away. I want this built before Ghost returns, Gaia ordered Daniel. There were still 3 days until he returns, and she wanted to surprise him by giving him the new restaurant. Chapter 121. After getting the baby dragon and the Ring of Fire spell from Maisie, Michael spent the day roaming around the Nether Realm to find treasures. However, he had no luck finding another treasure like the Sky Garden or the baby dragon. When the daylight disappeared, he found another cave and decided to spend the night inside. Hoo-hoo-hoo, the darkness of the cave freaked out the baby dragon as it rubbed its head against Michael's chin while groaning. You shouldn't be afraid of darkness, baby dragon, he said after gently massaging the baby dragon's head. He then bought a torch and placed it inside the cave. not because of the baby dragon's fear of darkness, but he wanted to see the baby dragon with no one interrupting. He sat on the ground lifting up the dragon-like baby. Mud and blood stains covered its body, preventing him from seeing the baby dragon's color. Staring at the wonderment in his eyes, the baby dragon tilted its head. Everything seemed like a dream to him. He never expected in a million years that he would be transmigrated to another world and presented with an opportunity to control the entire world such as this one. Holding the baby dragon in his hands brought some memories he was desperate to forget. Yet, the prickly tongue of the baby dragon stopped his train of thought. "Let's clean you up." He opened the system to buy a small bathtub so he could get rid of all the blood and mud stains from the baby dragon. The baby dragon's eyes were filled with curiosity when he placed the bathtub beside him. He then moved on to fill the tub with scented water. Hoo-hoo, surprisingly for Michael, the baby dragon shook its head, showing its reluctance to water. This act of the baby dragon reminded him of the dogs back on Earth who also hated taking a bath. The scaly little bastard might be a noble dragon but acted like a spoiled puppy. "Nope, you're getting a bath," he flicked on its forehead, ignoring the protesting of the little dragon. The baby dragon was an intelligent creature. It realized that its protests were going to be in vain. Hugh. He felt the baby dragon's body getting warm. The closer he took the dragon to the tub, the warmer its body got. Ouf! A sudden puff of flame came after he heard the dragon cough. Whoa! Although he was quick enough to save his hair from getting burned, he was still surprised to see the baby dragon breathe fire. "Do that again," he said gleefully, rubbing the baby dragon's head. Ouf! He heard the sound again, yet unlike before, he didn't see any stream of fire, not even a puff of smoke from the dragon's mouth. Ouf! The baby dragon coughed again and again and again, trying its best to breathe fire, except it failed to accomplish this feat again. "It's okay, you're still too little to breathe fire." Seeing the baby dragon struggling to breathe fire, he comforted the scaly creature, hiding his doubt and disappointment. While the dragon was distracted, he merged it in the water. The baby dragon cried in shock and fluttered its scaly wings, trying to escape from the clutches of this cold water. Michael had his hands full with the little dragon, who now had absolute hate for water for the next couple of minutes. He used enough force to keep the dragon still while he rubbed the dirt and blood stains off of its body. As the dirt washed up on the water, he started to see the glimmering crimson scales, the pitch-black claws, and the thin yet tough wings. On its head, he noticed swellings. He may not be an expert on dragon anatomy, but he watched enough dragons in the movies to know that swellings would soon become horns. He lifted up the baby dragon from the bathtub only after he made sure there wasn't a speck of single dirt on its body. The baby dragon gnawing his hand as an act of revenge, but those baby teeth weren't strong enough to hurt Michael. He cuddled the dragon, giving a soft kiss on its scaly forehead. Soon, those vertical slit pupils became round. At the same time, it puppy-eyed him to make him chuckle. After playing with the dragon a little, both of them watched the darkness outside in silence until the baby dragon fell asleep, curling itself on Michael's lap. Right when the first light appeared, Michael left the cave searching for treasures. The baby dragon stared at every single thing like grass and tree in wonder, sitting comfortably on his shoulder. Michael was disappointed in the nether realm because people said although the place was filled with dangers, it also filled with treasures, but in his experience, the only treasure he came across was the Sky Garden. Of course, he got the baby dragon with the help of the system, yet it wasn't true for others. He preferred getting out of this place if this situation continued rather than wasting his time wandering around aimlessly. But soon, the Lady Luck surprised him with the sight of a large crowd in front of what seemed like an enormous cave. He walked cautiously towards the crowd and stood behind a large tree to see what's going on before acting. "Well then everyone, there's not much time left. We should plan accordingly now that we have 6 rare weapons here. We'll definitely be able to destroy those magical beasts and reduce the casualties to an absolute minimum," he heard a man's voice. "No wonder they are called the rare weapons, their strength is far too strong. Those big sects are rich as fuck. With a rare weapon in their hands, each of them can battle a body-strengthening stage beast. With the right strategy, they could even kill one. Many of the men there began to chat among themselves in quiet voices with a fear of speaking too loud. There are a total of 4 magical beasts, each one of them is extremely dangerous and powerful. It requires 2 of us with a rare weapon in order to fight one of them to a standstill. I can only guess that it would take 3 of us with a rare weapon to kill one of the magical beasts. We have 6 rare weapon users, meaning that we can kill 2 of them, the other 2 will have to be dealt with by the others. Michael recognized this voice, it belonged to Evan Clark, one of the prodigies from the Morning Star. The last time he met Evan was on the battlefield fighting the Netherals in Rivertown. We have plenty of level 10 body refining warriors, with the last 2 magical beasts, they'll be able to deal with them. Although no one else would have a rare weapon, the amount of them is enough to handle the last 2 beasts, another feminine voice said. Victoria, he instantly recognized Victoria by her voice. Knowing that these 2 were here, he realized that there must be something valuable inside the cave and worth exploring, not to mention he could harvest badass points by taking the spotlight from these so-called prodigies. That's correct, if we all work together, then we will be able to break past the defensive line of the magical beasts. I agree to this plan, Victoria said. I agree as well, followed by Victoria's voice, he heard Hannah Berry's voice. What is she doing here? Flashing the Netherals to death, Michael chuckled inside. The crowd saw 3 of the 5 experts had all agreed while the other 2 remained silent. Noah, Alicia, if we may have your opinion. Evan looked at Alicia and Noah and then the little girl beside them. I see no problems, both Noah and Alicia nodded their head in agreement with Evan's plan. Seeing the strongest among them give their agreement, Evan had a look of excitement on his face. Then, taking a glance at the crowd, he spoke in a loud voice, everyone, now that the 5 experts have all united to enter the Immortal's cave, I hope that everyone will stand with us. Our combined strength will be enough to kill the magical beasts, and whoever enters the cave will be able to take what they find. As soon as Evan finished his speech, everyone stood up at once and began to cheer loudly. Each one of these men was at level 10 of the body refining stage and with their rare weapons, they were on par with body strengthening level 5 warriors. If you are not above at least level 7, then don't throw your life away. We are only inviting those who at the peak level to fight with us. Victoria yelled out loud, causing those who didn't meet the criteria to be displeased. Victoria sounded arrogant as usual. The way she spoke irked many people, but they had to stay back unless they wanted to end up as magical beast turds. After this, those who weren't strong enough to face the magical beasts could only retreat away from the cave grounds, leaving behind around 70 men. Each of them was at or above the level 7 body refining stage with a strong background and a determined face. Good, then let's have everyone here so we can plan things out. I propose that we split up into 4 groups, each one will deal with a single magical beast. Does anyone have any opinions? Evan spoke. This plan's fine, I agree. I agree as well. Everyone began to ask their questions, shouldn't we wait for Ghost? Among the crowd, a person asked, making Michael grin. Chapter 122. After the man asked the question, among the crowd, there were a few moments of silence. It was Victoria who broke this silence with her words, we are not waiting for anyone. The people here are more than enough to slay those 4 beasts. She left no place for anyone to talk back. Ever since he humiliated her during Heaven's Gate competition by Spartan kicking her off the stage, the seed of hate towards Ghost had grown into a giant tree in her heart. Every time she hears the name Ghost, a flash of anger would emerge from her soul itself. Hearing the name she hates the most again, deep down she hoped he had died somewhere in the nether realm. That bitch didn't change a bit, Michael said to the little dragon as it tilted its head confused. Evan smiled, Ghost can join the fight when he comes here. For now, the inner group here has enough people to split into 2 groups. The rest of the men here should split into 2 groups as well. Does anyone have any objections? The inner group Evan had mentioned were all standing right next to him, all of them belonged to either one of the 3 sects or a powerful faction like the Guardian Guild. Behind the tree, Michael was scanning the area to detect the so-called 4 magical beasts they were meticulously planning to defeat. His closed eyes opened abruptly when he detected the magical beasts using his environmental scanning. For core formation level 7, these beasts were not something he could handle alone. Maybe with Gaia, he could have defeated one, but even with her at his side, no way in hell he could have killed more than 2. Fortunately, these guys were preparing to fight the beasts, leaving him to plot a plan of his own. On the other side, Evan spoke to the others, for magical beasts are guarding the Immortal's cave. The names of each of these strong magical beasts are the winged ash snake, golden lightning lion, bearded earthworm, and the ground terror. After examining them closely, we've already established that their strength is the same as each other. The only difference is their innate skills. The winged ash snake is capable of flying and spitting out an extremely potent acid. If it takes off into the air, then it will be extremely hard to deal with. The golden lightning lion has an extremely high defense because of its golden scales. As the name suggests, it can also spit out lightning as well as discharge electricity from its body. It would be best for everyone to stay away from it. The bearded earthworm is a special variation of an earthworm. It has an equally strong defense to the golden lightning lion, but its only weakness is, it is slow. If anyone has speed spells, the bearded earthworm will be your best target. Few of them who had speed-enhancing spells decided to take on the bearded earthworm. The last one is the ground terror and our biggest headache. Its attack strength isn't as strong as the other 3, but the most annoying trait about it is that it's fast, extremely fast. In a blinking moment, it can drill deep into the earth to evade our attacks and then strike out from underneath. It is completely silent when it's underground and leaves behind no trace. It can attack from underneath one's foot at any time, and while it is the weakest in terms of attacks, its attacks are generally unblockable. At the mention of the ground terror, Victoria's eyes narrowed angrily. Clearly, she had fought one before and ended up on the losing side. Evan, which magical beast do you think we should take on? Noah asked from the side. We should target the winged ash snake. We have 3 rare weapons, and one of them is a longbow. If the winged ash snake were to take to the skies, then we could shoot it down. We also have a whip that can tether and restrict the snake's mobility. At the very least, we could prevent it from taking to the skies. These 2 weapons are the bane of the winged ash snake. Evan spoke with no hesitation. Noah thought for a moment before nodding his head in agreement. Makes sense, since Abel went missing, Noah wasn't his usual self, or he would have taken the initiative to lead the group against these 4 magical beasts. Alicia hoped they would find Abel soon, alive and well. After hearing Evan, Victoria spoke up. The bearded earthworm has extremely strong defenses and has a lot of strength as well. The average body refining stage warrior wouldn't be able to do any damage to it, and without a rare weapon, its defenses cannot be pierced. I will lead a group to take this one, the others can deal with golden lightning lion and ground terror. In a flash, the discussion was over. The most annoying magical beast, the ground terror, who had an unavoidable and unblockable attack, and the strongest magical beast, the golden lightning lion, were given to the last 2 divisions. Hannah Berry led one while a rogue cultivator led the other. Although the men in those 2 divisions were displeased, they weren't able to say anything. The winged ash snake was capable of flight, which would render all those on the ground helpless. It would also be able to strike at the men on the ground with its potent acid, so this magical beast was best suited for the group with the longbow and whip user. I should pick the weakest beast. He recalled what Evan said about all the beasts, thinking which beast he should target. Without another thought, he removed the ground terror from his mind. That left him with 3 options: the golden lightning lion, the bearded earthworm, and the winged ash snake, except Noah and his group picked the winged ash snake. Considering he couldn't use the long-range weapon as good as Gaia, he decided to leave the winged ash snake to his group. Finally, after deep thinking, he chose the bearded earthworm as his target. He had 2 reasons to choose the earthworm. First, he could use its slowness to his advantage, and second, he would be able to steal the spotlight from Victoria as well as get more badass points from the system. Although the Ground Terror and Golden Lightning Lion were both hard to deal with, the remaining two divisions were strong in their own right and had many people. With at least 30 peak body refining stage warriors against a single magical beast, the problem shouldn't be that big. After walking towards the cave for a few minutes, everyone came to a stop as they spotted the remains of a battleground. Some were engulfed by greediness. They thought they could make their way into the cave without alerting the 4 beasts guarding the cave entrance, except they couldn't. Suddenly, the thunderous roar of a magical beast could be heard as it shook both the heavens and the earth with an ear-splitting sound. Then, 3 enormous magical beasts came into view. One massive python of large width with a head bigger than the height of a fully matured man and black wings. This was the winged ash snake. Right next to the winged ash snake was a gigantic lion with a ferocious look and body covered with golden scales. Occasionally, a ripple of electricity would dance across its body. This was the Golden Lightning Lion. To the side of the Golden Lightning Lion was a lizard-like magical beast that was a meter tall and 10 meters long. 4 stumpy legs held it up from the ground and its body was completely covered by grayish scales. The most iconic feature of this magical beast was the long beard hanging from its chin. Obviously, everyone recognized this as the bearded earthworm. As these 3 magical beasts appeared, everyone felt a sudden surge of power in the air, pressing against their chest as if there were a heavy stone there, making them difficult to move. Don't panic now, the Ground Terror might still be underground, so be careful. Victoria said as she held up her flaming sword and charged toward the bearded earthworm. Following straight behind, Noah, Evan, Alicia, and their group charged at their target. Standing atop a tree branch, Michael watched the battle starting between the magical beasts and the youngsters. On his shoulder, the baby dragon craned its neck to see the battle. Maybe he was wrong, but the baby dragon sounded like it's asking why isn't he taking part in the battle. Let them fight and weaken the beasts, then I will take out the weakest. Note this, baby dragon, do not pick a fight that you cannot win. The baby dragon moved its head up and down, acknowledging his advice. Michael had 2 plans. In Plan A, he would kill the beasts after they weakened the beasts using all their spells and attacks. In Plan B, he would simply dash into the cave while the 4 beasts were occupied with the youngsters. Of course, he could ask the system to get a perfect solution, but he decided to test himself to prove himself that he could survive without the system's help, because overly depending on the system might become his weakness in the future. To take out these beasts and overcome this situation, he would use his current as well as the skill set he learned as an assassin. At that moment, aside from the Ground Terror, the other 3 magical beasts began to take action. He focused on the bearded earthworm to study all of its movements and attacks. This is going to be a battle where Michael had to depend on himself completely rather than the system. Chapter 123 Whoosh. With a flash of golden light, the yellow-clothed girl in Noah's group shot an arrow from her solunar bow aiming at the winged ash snake. Bang! The arrow collided against the winged ash snake, producing an explosive sound. The snake's entire body began to spasm for a moment before settling once more. On its giant body, a single bloody hole could be seen. With an enormous hissing sound that stung the ears, the snake focused on the girl. Those vertical slit pupils were locked onto the girl. Used the whip to bind its body. Evan raised his spear, roaring at the snake while keeping a safe distance from the snake. Alicia dashed forward with a serious expression. In an instant, the whip in her hands blurred as it flew toward the snake's body. While in midair, the whip began to extend before becoming a 100-meter-long cord that wrapped around the 2 wings and bound it shut, preventing the snake from flying. Forward! Evan roared. With his rare weapon in the air, he and 3 other men dashed at the winged ash snake. At the same time, Noah's body blurred away as aimed his light wind sword to attack. Bang! An explosive sound and a billow of energy pulsed out like an ocean of energy. The surrounding area quickly went to ruins as the 3 other divisions began to fight as well. As the battle continued for some time, a cry filled with pain could be heard on the battlefield as a youngster was bitten from the waist down by a creature whose head looked like a mouse, dragging him down beneath the ground. Ground terror. The ground terror is here. Everyone, be careful of the ground. As soon as everyone heard the yell, they all stared intently at the ground. At that moment, right in front of the group, a large golden-colored rat-like beast flew up from the ground with the upper half of a man in its mouth. Be careful, the ground terror is here. Hurry up and attack it, don't let it escape into the ground. As soon as the ground terror appeared, everyone began to shout out loud as they charged at the ground terror. The ground terror was extremely fast and immediately flew back into the ground after swallowing the body in its mouth. Even when rare weapons slashed at its body, only sparks could be seen. The ground terror was a scaled magical beast with silvery scales all over its body. Despite its defenses not being as strong as the bearded earthworm, it was still stronger than what the average body refining stage warrior could damage. An incredibly sharp spike arose from the ground and instantly speared through the hip of a man before he could even react. "Ah!" The man cried out in a shrill voice before thrusting his fire attribute rare weapon into the ground in hopes of exposing the ground terror from its subterranean hiding spot. All that he hit was earth as the ground terror had already moved on from one area to another. An intense purple light flashed as the entire world shook all of a sudden. By the side, the golden lightning lion shot out a blue spear of lightning that arced toward the closest person, reducing his body to nothing but ashes. Several men immediately struck out at the lion with their rare weapons, creating a clunking sound as they smashed against its scales with some sparks and blood. Although the golden lightning lion's defenses weren't weak, it wasn't capable of defending against a barrage of blows of a large group without taking some damage. An angry roar was emitted from the lion's mouth as it swiped its sharp claws at the surrounding people attacking it. Another arc of lightning was spat out from the lion's mouth, striking the closest person without giving him a chance to dodge. In that instant, 5 of the 30 warriors who attacked the golden lightning lion had been shocked by the lightning and fell to the floor with charcoal black bodies. The winged ash snake wasn't much stronger than the bearded earthworm, especially with its wings restricted by Alicia's whip. She used her and her whip's full power to attack the snake. Although the snake was a core formation level beast, it wasn't as intelligent as those who were fighting it, therefore, with 3 rare weapons and good strategy, they were able to do some damage to the snake. In the end, the snake's strength while bound up was far less than before, which impacted it majorly, so only around 60% of its full power could be displayed. The winged ash snake continued to struggle fiercely against the bindings but to no avail. The wounds on its body were growing more and more severe and its temper even more violent. Alicia's face grew serious as she bit her lower lip and concentrated while sweat pooled over her forehead. At the moment, she was completely focused on constraining the wings of the winged ash snake. Suddenly, the winged ash snake let out a loud hiss as a large amount of corrosive acid shot from its mouth headed in every direction. "Watch out." Noah saw the winged ash snake turning its head at Alicia to fire a blob of corrosive acid which was powerful enough to melt Alicia, giving her a horrible death. Noah knew he couldn't reach Alicia in time. The golden Bobberoo could have helped her, but it was with Maisie back at the cabin. He felt helpless and threw his sword at the snake even though he knew it couldn't hurt the snake. Zzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzh. Zzzzzzzzzzzzzzh. Alicia closed her eyes knowing it's too late to move, but at that exact time, she heard 2 crackling sounds. Hi-yi-isis, she opened her eyes to see the snake shaking its head violently. There were 2 large holes in its head, exactly at the place where it had 2 eyes. Ghost! Evan couldn't help but shout in relief when he saw Michael before he transformed into a bolt of lightning. After blinding the snake using his upgraded Ignitia, Michael didn't waste any time lingering around. He dashed at the snake at full speed, getting closer to the snake in mere seconds. Whoosh! The arch energy as well as the speed gave him enough strength to leap into the air. Evan's jaw slightly dropped when he saw Ghost landing directly on the winged ash snake's head. "Keep it still." Noah shouted at Alicia, who used her full strength to keep the snake from taking off with Ghost on its head. Michael's training as an assassin came in handy to stay on its head without falling down. Nonetheless, he didn't plan to stay longer as he crouched, placing his 2 hands right between those 2 bloody eyes. Ignitia. Michael conjured all his arch energy. Thick cracks of lightning emerged from his hand, dancing around his fingers. Zzz. Boom. Everyone heard the loud crackling sound of electricity, and the very next moment, a loud boom sound reverberated the area. Splashes of hot blood, organs, and dirt splattered across the area surrounding the snake. The burning smell and iron filled the air, yet Evan or anyone who witnessed the snake's head explode into a blood-red mist didn't twitch their noses but stood still, looking at Michael comfortably landing on his feet bathed in the snake's blood. His eyes contained a sense of accomplishment and pride within, while his lips curved upwards, making him look like a blood demon. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a core formation stage level 7 beast. The reward is 60,000 experience points and 1,000 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 1,500 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 2,000 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 3,000 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. The moment the others noticed the headless snake lying on the ground in its own pool of blood and Ghost in front of it, their faces went still with shock and amazement. There were still cracks of lightning dancing around and through the snake's body, as well as grayish smoke radiating from the part where the head was. Even Noah was no different from the rest. Just then, the bearded earthworm let out a terrible sound as well before collapsing to the ground. Victoria was breathing heavily while clutching her sword tightly. She had more than 20 men before the fight, but now, only 10 or so people stood behind her, terrified and ready to run for their life. Time to kill the worm, Michael thought to himself, looking at the bearded earthworm. Although he hated Victoria, looking at the injuries and the large wounds on the bearded earthworm's body, he felt grateful towards her because she just made his life better, a lot better. Until a few minutes ago, his target was this earthworm, but when he noticed the snake struggling under the attack of Noah and his group, he changed his target to the snake. However, it was not as simple as blinding its eyes and killing it like he did. Before he actually fired bolts of lightning at the snake, he concocted a variant of the devil's breath and mixed the gas in the air around the snake using his arch energy. The more everyone inhaled the air, without them knowing, they would become weak, including the snake. Coupled with his potion and Alicia's hard work of keeping the snake still, he got the chance to target its eyes, the weakest part in its body. His attack caught the snake in surprise, leaving no time for it to defend or dodge. Of course, he wanted to let the snake finish Alicia so he would have one less enemy in the future, but unfortunately, the devil's breath could only weaken the snake for a few precious seconds. Evan, give me your spear. Evan knew about his speed spell, therefore, when he asked for the spear, Evan threw the spear to him because it would be more useful to Ghost than to him in this situation. The earthworm had already suffered major wounds in the battle with Victoria and her group. Since Earthworm was the weakest and Victoria used all of her powerful spells and her rare weapons to fight it, the worm's strength was reduced to almost 60%. Taking the spear, Michael didn't immediately activate the lightning dash but stealthily moved towards the earthworm while it was focusing on Victoria. If the earthworm could kill before he reaches his desired position to attack the worm, so be it, no rush, this was his thought. While he was snaking towards the earthworm, he signaled Noah and Evan to attack at the same time as he thought hand signs. Noah nodded, then Evan, and finally Alicia. The trio didn't take anyone with them to ambush the earthworm because a large group could alert and take the worm's attention from Victoria. Michael focused completely on the target before him, not at the other two magical beasts ravaging the rest of the youngsters. Inside Michael's long coat's pocket, the baby dragon attempted to move, trying to see what's going on outside, except Michael tapped his chest, making the dragon stop moving. Now that he dealt with this minor trouble, he conjured the alchemy flames, heating the tip of the spear. Evan saw his spear tip turning from silvery white to bright orange. When he was just 20 meters away from the earthworm, he stopped and showed 3 fingers, indicating that he would attack in the count of 3. 3 fingers, 2 fingers, 1 finger, lightning dash. He activated the skill silently, then he dashed forward, aiming the heated spear at the big black dot in its head, which seemed to be the eyes. Godly slash. Death frost. At the same time, both Noah and Alicia began their attack. A crescent-shaped golden light soared through the air towards the worm, while a bone-chilling frost of ice instantly covered the earthworm. Normal spear stab, just like before. Michael leaped into the air, muttering these 3 words under his breath with a small chuckle in his mind. Boom! The golden light Noah sent was powerful enough to cut through the worm's strong scales, and the frost spell Alicia used crystallized half of its body, and the frost continued to crystallize the rest of its body. It's mine! Victoria screamed madly, seeing they are going to finish the job she started. She didn't want them to take the credit, especially Ghost, except he already stabbed the spear through the worm's eyes, making the worm shudder violently. Michael retrieved the spear to stab it again and again until it stopped shuddering. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a core formation stage level 7 beast. The reward is 60,000 experience points and 1,000 badass points. Just when he saw the notification did he stop stabbing the worm. Both the winged ash snake and the bearded earthworm were dead now. Only 2 remained. One was the golden lightning lion, which was prancing about. Despite the wounds on its body, they were nowhere near killing the lion. The ground terror was the most healthy one. Scuttling about underground, it would play hide and seek with those on top as if it were a game rather than a battle. Appearing and disappearing randomly before attacking people in a single instance, it left behind no traces and only a major headache. The groups who were fighting both the Golden Lightning Lion and the Ground Terror had taken major casualties. At least a dozen men died fighting the lion, while many more had taken serious damage. As for the Ground Terror, it had already swallowed 7 men while injuring a dozen others. The Ground Terror hadn't even taken any damage yet. The Golden Lightning Lion is far too strong. Come and help us quickly, or we won't last much longer. Help us deal with the Ground Terror. Seeing how the winged ash snake and the bearded earthworm were killed, the others cried out for assistance with glee. Quickly steadying himself, Noah dashed to those in need of help. Follow me. Without looking at the earthworm's corpse, Noah called out to the rest of the men to follow him to battle the remaining beasts. Surprisingly, Evan and Victoria followed Noah, but not before Evan took his spear from Michael. Are these idiots expecting me to join? No thanks. In the heat of battle, they forgot why they came here, but not Michael. He had no intention to help those youngsters because the remaining 2 magical beasts were not harmed, not at all. Although with Noah, Evan, Victoria, and Alicia by his side, he could kill one of them or even both. He didn't come here to kill magical beasts but to take the treasures inside the cave. Just like Michael, few of them had the same thought. They were looking for the right time to dash into the cave following Michael. Ignoring them, Michael dashed into a cave. This cave was unnaturally deep, and with every single interval, there was a single night pearl emanating a white glow of light. The interior and cave walls were glossy as well, meaning that someone had used an incredible amount of strength to cut the walls evenly. Bang! A loud sound could be heard up ahead as the entire passageway began to tremble. He began to hasten his pace even more before quickly arriving at an area where a single stone door blocked his path. Chapter 124. Michael ran his fingers through the old sturdy wall blocking his path. He looked around to find if there's a mechanism to open this stone wall yet. he could find only dust and pebbles around. Okay, let's do this the hard way then. He strode forward and immediately struck the door fiercely with his fist. With a muffled sound, the stone door continued to tower over everyone else with only some dust being shaken down. At this sight, everyone who followed him behind was astounded. Even he had been stunned for a moment before muttering to himself, "Is this really a stone door?" He knew clearly just how much strength was put behind his fist. Even an iron door would have a hole blasted through it, but this stone door wasn't even scratched. Holy shit! Is this really a stone door? It's unbelievably hard. This stone door definitely isn't an ordinary one. Everyone began to chat among themselves. Need help? He heard the familiar robotic yet slightly human voice in his head. Nope, I'll need to see how far I can get without your help. Michael thought. He tightened his fist again to punch the stone wall again. If there was a trace of arch energy around the door, he would have looked for another way because it's near impossible to break something enchanted using arch energy, but this door had no arch energy, which means, with enough force, he could break this door. Bang! An ear-splitting sound could be heard as the entire cave shook after he punched the door again. Everyone shook their heads in pain as they steadied themselves. After a while, the cave grew quiet once more. Everyone's eyes remained wide open as they looked at the stone door in shock. It continued to stand over them as if normal. Just what was used to make this stone door, it's really hard. Michael was annoyed at these people behind him. They weren't even helping, and the only thing they were doing since they followed him to the cave was staring at the stone wall. Third time's the charm. Just as he was about to punch the door the third time, a large animalistic reverberated the cave, causing everyone's face to lose color. That's the golden lightning lion and the sounds of footsteps. God damn it, they brought it here. Fuck, one of them yelled. Fuck it, the pitch-black darkness of the cave and the fact these idiots bringing the lion to him gave him an idea which could work. Gritting his teeth, he closed his eyes. Death range. The moment he uttered these two words, the arch energy in his body rushed into his veins, making every muscle in the body stronger. He could feel his strength growing exponentially, and since the cave was already pitch black, none could notice the darkness of the death range. Without any hesitation, he punched the stone wall. Bang! A loud sound could be heard as a large shockwave of energy exploded outward at an alarming speed, washing over everyone while the cave itself began to shake almost as if it was on the verge of collapsing in on itself. Upon looking at the stone door, there were several cracks, but it was still not broken. Everyone let out a shocked gasp. The stone door was far stronger than anyone had imagined. On the other side, he could rejoice about the durability of the Immortal's cave. Even after such a heavy blow, it still had not collapsed. Break for me. Michael gritted his teeth. Immediately, he punched again, and this time, his punch was stronger than the one before. Another explosive sound could be heard as stone pieces could be seen flying about, and the cave echoed with the sound. After the second strike, the unbelievably strong stone door had finally been shattered, but not completely. The hole that appeared at the wall could only let one person at a time. Even that person had to be slim enough to slide through the crack. Fortunately, he wasn't a bodybuilder or fatty. Let's go. Move quick. We can't fight that beast in here. Many shouted in terror while Michael was sliding through the crack to reach the side. He desperately wanted to block this crack, leaving these lazy bastards to die, but time was not in his favor. After wiggling his body through the crack, he came to the other side of the stone wall and reached the inner parts of the cave. The cave was extremely large and spacious. Hanging right on the ceiling of the cave was a single head-sized night pearl that illuminated the entire cave with its shiny glow. In front of him, there was a tall bookshelf, and on top of this bookshelf, there were some neatly placed scrolls. All these scrolls were covered in dust. They had clearly been here for a long period of time. Right next to a tall bookshelf was another single haphazardly made wooden bookshelf with several books on it. He walked up to the top bookshelf and grabbed a book with a sudden look of shock on his face. All of these books were rare spells. He was surprised by what he just found. Fiery Wrath creates a weapon of fiery energy. This is incredible. I just picked one at random, and it was a rare spell. Michael's eyes were glistening in excitement. So many scrolls. There are also books. This is a library. No shit. The system sounded irritated, but he ignored it, sending everything he picked into his system storage before the system asks rent for storage space. Energy Rage creates claws of electric energy. Damn, I hit the jackpot. Michael couldn't hold his excitement, thinking how powerful he would become after learning all these spells. He would be untouchable, and he saved thousands of badass points. Ha. System, did you just laugh? The system went silent, but he could swear he heard the system chuckle. Clean first, think later. He had no time, bitch, with the system, as Noah and those idiots would come here soon, and then he would have to share this loot with them unless he wanted to make some powerful enemies by fighting. That he did not want, because the spells are valuable, but they are not worth it if he had to make powerful enemies. Thinking about this, he fastened his pace of storing the spells in his system storage while the people behind him were reading the spell scrolls one by one to choose which one they should get, considering they had limited space in their space ring. Baby Dragon, if we take everything here back to our sect, we will become the fourth big sect. Michael patted his chest. He could sense the baby dragon had fallen asleep, or it would have clawed its way out of his coat to give him a dragon saliva bath. Need a diversion. He noticed one by one people were turning their gazes at his bookshelf. Looking at this, he decided to turn their gaze towards somewhere else, and to do that, what would be better than a good old-fashioned flashbang? He knew one day this would come in handy after using these to get rid of the bandits during his first quest. He crept into the corner of the shelf where he had the cover of darkness and retrieved the flashbang. Fire in the hole, bitches, he snickered, throwing the flashbang to the faraway corner of the cave. Bang! The sudden flash and explosion sound shook the cave, making everyone jump back in shock and surprise. Just as the flashbang exploded, he waved his hand and took all the scrolls into his space ring before punching the bookshelf to make it fall to the ground. What was that? Michael shouted like he had nothing to do with the explosion. Move faster, people, the place might come down on our head. Like a good human being, he advised the people as everyone nodded. Those who eyed the bookshelf could now only sigh, because they preferred to take what they could easily rather than lifting this shelf up and then search for a spell. As soon as he took all the spell scrolls, he laughed inside and joined the others to look around the cave, hoping to find even more treasures. Despite the expansive cave, the items within were relatively scarce. Aside from the rare spells, there was nothing else that made him excited as before, but that didn't mean he left those common and uncommon spells untouched. He took many of those scrolls without alerting the others, as he didn't want them to wonder where he got the space to store all the spells. Bang! 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 Suddenly, the silent atmosphere of the cave changed by the thundering, booming sounds which seemed to be coming from breaking the stone wall. Soon, Michael saw Noah and the group rushed into the cave, making him curse those useless magical beasts outside. Core formation, my ass. Why couldn't they kill them all? In the next second, something strange happened as the stone chess table slowly began to descend into the ground when an idiot who just came here began to investigate the table. Immediately jumping away from the table, Noah could only look on in astonishment as the table descended deeper into the ground before exclaiming, "WH. What's happening?" He couldn't have activated some sort of mechanism, has he? Even as Noah spoke, the group of men in the cave all grew vigilant as they began to worry whether or not the mechanism that was activated would kill them. Seeing the sudden change, Michael was ready to use the teleportation scroll he got from the system to escape the cave. He did want to see how far he could get without the help of the system, but he would rather live another day to test himself than dying here. As the table descended into the ground, it was almost as if there was indeed a mechanism, as Noah had said. The cave began to shake as a muffled boom could be heard, and a hidden stone door slowly started to rise up from the ground. There must be a treasure inside. Hurry up and enter before anyone else can. Hurry up and go in, there has to be some legendary treasure inside. The crowded cave of people quickly began to cry out loud as they charged toward the area. Michael didn't hesitate for even a moment. In an instant, they quickly flew toward the stone door. In a blur of movements, he activated the lighting dash and disappeared into the hidden door. The area past the hidden door was quite small, only a few men could stand inside. There seemed to be a single person resting inside, and right above his head was a single fist-sized night pearl that seemed to endlessly pour out a ray of light that would never cease. As soon as several men entered this small cave, they immediately felt a tremendous amount of pressure coming at them from all angles. It was enough for everyone to suddenly become serious as their hearts could feel the shock. This cave was not a normal one. Right next to one of the walls was a single jade white bed. On the white bed, a single white skeleton could be seen maintaining a meditative position for an unknown amount of time. This entire skeleton exuded a fluorescent light from itself as well. Although it was only a skeleton, it was giving off an incredible amount of pressure. Even the faint amount of power that could be felt in the room was coming from this skeleton. This is the skeleton of a fusion stage cultivator. Victoria shouted out loud in shock at the skeleton. Noah, Evan, Michael all showed similar signs of shock at this newfound discovery. As they discovered the skeleton and felt excitement overtake them, everyone soon quickly felt their blood begin to boil. In a single flash of movement of Victoria that caused a squall of wind to appear, she flew toward the skeleton. At the same time, everyone including Michael charged toward it. Everyone looked at the skeleton with their blood pounding in veins. Immediately using any speed-enhancing spell they had, they tried to get closer to the skeleton before the others, except Michael, who stopped at some distance from the skeleton, trusting his instincts. Chapter 125. With greediness overflowing out of her eyes, Victoria reached out at the skeleton. The others were too late to react or stop Victoria, they could only watch her from behind. However, just as her hand was a couple of inches away from the skeleton, an unearthly humming came from the skeleton, and the next moment, a sudden force blasted Victoria back. "One person, one bone," a loud yet calm voice echoed through the cave. Many became flabbergasted, looking around the cave to locate the voice, but Michael could somehow sense the voice belonged to the fusion stage cultivator. After flying, or rather stumbling back a few meters, Victoria quickly regained her composure, but not before baring her teeth looking at the skeleton. She obviously avoided making eye contact with others, especially with Ghost, who was ready to laugh at her misfortune. "I think the cultivator only wants us to take only one bone each," Evan said, taking everyone's focus from Victoria. Michael inwardly rolled his eyes, looking at the tension between Evan and Victoria. It was not a tension of hostility, but rather the tension of affection. No shit, Sherlock, thought Michael. He was happy that he didn't lightning dash to the skeleton before anyone else, or he would have been thrown away instead of Victoria. He leaned on the wall and willed to activate the energy devourer, hoping to turn the pressure coming from the skeleton into experience points while these people could come to a decision. Unlike everyone else in this world, he was unable to cultivate through the usual means. He had to rely on the system to cultivate, therefore, he did not have a choice other than using the system to earn experience points, which was the only way for him to level up. System level is too low to break the barrier around the skeleton. Level 4 energy devourer required to transform the fusion stage arch energy. His vision was blocked by these two notifications. Now that his plan to screw everyone before they dismantle the skeleton, he had to wait to either fight over the skeleton or someone to come up with a peaceful way to solve this problem. Although he was not on Earth, the anatomy of these cultivators was the same as the Earthlings. They had 206 bones in their bodies. Obviously, he knew they wouldn't resolve this peacefully, because if they agreed to take one bone, as the skeleton said, people like Victoria would aim for the biggest bones in the body, such as the skull or femur. Most of the cultivators in this world tend to be greedy and vengeful, which led to unnecessary wars and fights. Of course, Michael was not the one to talk about either of those, because he stole all the scrolls on the top shelf just a moment ago without leaving a single scroll to the others. "I'll take the skull, fuck you. I fought the ground terror, so I'll take the skull. I'll be the big man and take the spinal cord. You can have the skull, spinal cord." You dumb fucker, there are 42 individual bones in the spinal cord, stupid fuckers, where did you two learn anatomy? In the toilet. It's not 42, it's 33-inch, what did you call me? As Michael expected, they began to bicker, ready to fight for a bone. Each of them looked like a Rottweiler in his eyes for a moment before Noah opened his mouth. Shut up. Since Noah was one of the strongest in the room, the crowd quickly stopped bickering. Alicia, how many of us are here? 43. Well, choose by chance. After he said, Alicia waved her hand as a quill and a paper appeared in her hand. Is she writing the names of all the bones in the body? Still leaning on the cave wall, he sighed. He wanted to get this over with and get out of the cave before it could collapse on them. After a few moments, with a flick of her wrist, she threw 206 small paper rolls on the ground in front of the skeleton. Each roll has a bone name written on it, each takes one and lets fate decide which bone one will get. Don't worry, well pick last, Alicia said before someone questioned her and Noah. But you have a better plan. Even after Alicia explained, somebody raised a question but that somebody was instantly shut by Noah. Who would go first? Evan asked as they all shared this same question. I'll go first. They all heard the voice turning their heads to see Michael finally decide to join them. He calmly walked towards the paper rolls. Most of them saw him killing 2 core formation beasts had fear etched into their brain cells. Someone had to go first and they did not protest him being that someone because they admired him and most of all, they feared him. System, locate the femur, 1000 badass points. Take it. He expected Victoria to be the bitch in the crowd but surprisingly, she kept her mouth shut while he noticed a glimmer around one particular paper roll. He gently bent his back trying not to wake up the sleepy dragon in his pocket. All the eyes in the cave were glued to Michael, wondering whether he would be blasted away like Victoria while many craned their necks to see which bone he would get. Alicia's enchantment kicked in when he picked the paper roll and projected the word femur in a large glistening word above him. Oh come on. Lucky bastard, he got the baby dragon, now this, he's really lucky. All of them bore a surprised look on their faces. Many couldn't help but feel frustrations grow inside seeing he got the largest bone. With a small smile on his face, he made his way towards the skeleton. I'm gonna take only one, said as he put his hand on the skeleton's femur. Unlike before, there was no sudden blast of force. The femur came to his hand after making a crackling sound. His small smile grew into a medium grin sensing the pure arch energy that was radiated by the femur in his hand. Although he might not be able to use this femur to level up, his snake friend certainly could. With his plans to grow the power of his base of operations as well as himself, he needed a loyal and powerful friend like Gaia. The stronger she grew, the more protection and help he would get. Now that he had gotten the femur, he swiftly stepped back from the skeleton not trying anything funny. As far as he was concerned, he earned not only enough experience points to level up to body strengthening level 5, he also got the baby dragon, rare herbs, spell scrolls, contract of Aragoth, and the bone of a fusion stage cultivator while making fewer enemies. The Nether Realm had been kind to him until now, unlike it was to Noah, Maisie, or poor Abel. Most of them lost their friends, limbs, and lives after entering the Nether Realm except Michael. Thank you. Putting the femur in his storage ring, he gave a short nod at the skeleton. He ignored every greedy pair of eyes on him except one pair of eyes, Noah's. His calm radiant black eyes stared at Michael with a ting of surprise hidden within. Michael felt something he couldn't describe. It was a new feeling that appeared and disappeared in a flash. His neck hair tingled but he did not show his shock on his face as he walked away from the skeleton as well as the crowd towards the exit. Some rogue cultivators wanted to simply kill him and take the femur from him without trying their luck, but Michael's dealing with Aragoth made them stand still. They were not dumb enough to mess with an ally of Aragoth. His relationship with Sade prevented Hannah Berry from giving him a seductive smile while he was walking past her. Coupled with Sadie, he now had 2 powerful allies, Silvermoon and Aragoth. I'll go next, Michael heard Evan's voice before he left through the crack. He was absolutely positive that they will soon fight again despite Noah's solution. At that time, he didn't want to be there. After leaving the inner parts of the cave, he slowed down his pace, scanning for any signs of the two remaining magical beasts. Luckily, his environment scanning detected no threats in the surrounding, which made him immediately use the lightning dash to disappear before they came looking for trouble. Eventually, when he was searching for another cave or treasure, he heard the howling sound of the wind on the horizon and looked up to see a bright beam of light emerge from the ground. Portal. He recognized the energy signature. It was the same energy signature as the portal everyone entered through into the Nether realm. He felt relieved and excited to leave this place. He wanted to level up, expand his herbal garden, and most of all, he wanted to show the baby dragon to Gaia, just to see the look on her face. She's going to freak the hell out, he chuckled under his breath. Despite being in the Guardian Guild, Noah still made a lot of enemies ever since he came to Netherrealm and lost a dear friend, but Michael earned allies, a servant who could summon netherals at his will. They both were two sides of the coin. They both walked entirely different paths. One wanted to reach the top of the food chain to save people while the other wanted to rule them. The Nether Realm was the starting place of the war between light and darkness. However, these two individuals were just two pawns in the game of superior beings, and Michael had just seen the glimpse of them when he tried to recruit the orc as his subordinate. End of Nether Realm arc. Expect a huge jump in Michael's power. Chapter 126. Seeing the gateway to getting out of this place excited Michael. Compared to everyone else, he was the real winner of this event despite the treasures disappearing after the Sky Garden. He was told by Gaia that each day a treasured place would appear, except it didn't. Lightning dash. Placing his hand on his chest pocket, he activated the speed spell, turning his body into a golden bolt of lightning. The people inside the cave were still unaware of this gateway and still fighting over the skeleton. Hey Snake, are you there? Michael willed the earpiece to connect to Gaia and asked. Wait a minute, move that aside, you dumb bastard. You! What the hell are you doing? Did I ask you to put that there? She was screaming inside his head, making him almost switch off the earpiece. He could tell the snake is bossing around everyone, which she loved to do. Hiya human. After a few moments, Michael heard her voice. This time, there were no buzzing sounds of people working or Gaia screaming at somebody. Hiya, Snake, you seem happy without me, he said, Hiya, chuckling. Of course I am, and how are you still alive? She teased him, trying to hide the delight in her heart of hearing his voice after so long. Don't get used to it. I'm coming home, really? There was an elevation in her voice, yet soon, she pretended not to be happy of him returning and continued to tease him. Oh, so soon? Why don't you stay there a bit longer? The portal has already opened, you ungrateful snake. I'm currently heading out there to get the hell out of here. Shit, hey, she suddenly screamed again. I'm gonna rip off your hands and attach them to your butt. You should go. I can't hear you scream in my ears no more. Yeah, you do that. I have to babysit these stupid bastards, or they might put the meat in the sewers. She cut off the line while he continued to run towards the portal. He couldn't wait to see the renovation works as well as his new restaurant that Gaia was boasting about. If he wants to keep a healthy and respectable relationship with Aragoth and major powers in the Elon continent, he had to keep his base of operations presentable to people. The Sunrise sect he left was barely presentable, as it could be looked at as a ruin. With these renovations, he hoped to receive a good amount of badass points every month, as the system said. For badass points, he got the Sunrise sect, and the restaurant could provide him with a steady flow of gold coins. No matter which world he was in, the rich liked to spend their time and money in a place suited to their taste and status. His two henchmen Daniel and Ricky were currently handing out flyers and hiring bards to promote the new restaurant. Although he had only one competition worth noticing, he didn't hold off his gold coins but ordered Gaia to spend as much as she wants to promote their restaurant. Thinking about his new schedule, he took a deep breath. In the daytime, he needed to be at the Majestic making pills and potions for the Majestic, oversee the restaurant and play with the baby dragon. In the nighttime, he had to terrorize the kingdom by killing criminals and such to keep the legend of Lucifer spread across the kingdom. However, after he leaves this place, he should lay low because killing Jane brought the frickin' church and attracted the king's notice according to Gaia. He was running towards the light beam on the horizon for hours, but it felt like he was running on a treadmill, not getting closer to the light beam. Meanwhile, the baby dragon woke and clawed his chest to make him stop running. The golden bolt of lightning slowly faded away, revealing Michael. It began to soar him with wet kisses, rubbing its little head against his chin. Alright, well, take a little break. Compared to everyone else in the body refining stage, he had triple the amount of arch energy in his body. Yet he was not an exception to getting tired of using all the arch energy in his body, for example using spells like lightning dash. In the daytime, powerful netherals rarely made an appearance, at least to his knowledge. During the night time, he did detect a bunch of core formation and even a few core strengthening netherals in his environmental scanning. Nonetheless, he knew even with the masking effect and stealthy approach, it would be impossible to hunt these powerful creatures. Having a system doesn't mean he should get into fights half-cocked. Are you hungry again? Sitting under the shade of a huge tree, he asked the baby dragon playfully. Those vertical slit pupils of the scaly creature instantly transformed themselves to those of a puppy looking at the juicy red slice of meat in Michael's hand. Here you go, he said after throwing the piece of meat a few meters away from him. He didn't want to spoon-feed the baby dragon, spoiling the dragon. The baby dragon threw a little temper tantrum before hopping towards the piece of meat. System, open the pet window again, he willed the system. Soon, the bluish interface filled his vision. Pet name, race, Forest Dragon Trust, 94% power, Arch Sensing Stage 1 You'll come up with a new name soon. And system, is there a way to change my dragon's race? This question sounded so stupid in his head, however, the system did boast that it could do anything given enough badass points. So why the heck not? System level is too low to answer the host's question, he sighed seeing the grayish notification box in front of him. According to Albrass memories, this world seemed to have 4 dragon bloodlines: Inferior Dragon, Forest Dragon, Grim Dragon, and the noblest of them all, Royal Dragon. Rarity and power increased respectively from Inferior Dragon to Royal Dragon. The latter was rare to the point that only a handful of people in this world had seen them with their own eyes. If this was only rarity and power, Michael wouldn't have worried about the race much, but it was not. The inferior dragon could only reach the core strengthening stage, not one stage above. Forest dragon could reach one stage above them, the soul refining stage, except most of them would die of old age. Only the dragon with either royal or grim bloodline had the chance to step into the half-immortal or to the stages above them. According to Albrass memory, grim dragons were the cheeky, pervy ones who loved to kidnap princes and princesses just for fun. They also loved to hoard anything that shines in the light, and to expand their treasure hoard, they would usually terrorize a settlement, making them hand over the valuables to it. They were practically the bandits of the dragons. With no care of its bloodline, the baby dragon munched on the meat while occasionally letting out small burps. I've been calling you baby dragon, what's your gender? He wondered, trying to see if there's any genitalia in its body yet. After staring at the baby dragon for a couple of seconds, he sighed and let go of this unfruitful search. System version 2.0 Host, Michael. Cultivation level, body refining stage, level 10 experience points, 18000/200000, 1,110,000 experience points remaining to be consumed, badass points, 70,000 skills and spells, Wind Blast, LVL2 Responsive Shield, LVL3 Environment Scanning, LVL2 Ignitia, LVL2 Lightning Dash, LVL2 Energy Devour, LVL1 Death Range, LVL2 Techniques, Swords of Destiny, 88% Mastery Occupation, Core Disciple of Sunrise Sect, the Guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the Abyssal Status, Healthy Goals. Control the world, rebuild the Order of Death. Utility function, Banker, LVL2, Ratio, 1000 gold coins, 5 badass points, Wealth, 685,000 gold. Special trait, 5-star Alchemist Subordinates, Gaia, loyalty level 95%, base of operation, sunrise sect the abyssal. The number of badass pints and experience points immediately brightened his face. He became one step closer to reach the top of the food chain. The first thing he wanted to do after getting out is upgrading the system to level 3 because it keeps telling him the system level is too low to answer many of his questions. 30,000 badass points seemed humongous when he upgraded the system to level 2, but now, he could spend this amount without batting an eye. Michael was positive that Selena would come looking for him, doubting him for Jane's death. At that time, he wouldn't be the same person she attacked at the waterfall. This time, he would have the strength to return the favor in case she tries to attack him. Come on baby dragon, let's go. He stood up looking at the light beam again as the baby dragon came hopping to him. It then clawed its way to Michael's shoulder. In his focus at the portal, he failed to notice the grayish scale on the dragon's belly, which was crimson red before. Eventually running for another 2.5 hours, finally, the light beam seemed closer to him. On the distance around the light beam, he could see a few camp tents and people who were packing up their stuff to leave the Nether Realm. Now that we have finished with the Nether Realm arc, we can finally get into the interesting parts. How about an adventure? Chapter 127. The closer he got to the campsite, he finally understood where the disciples of Aragoth went after he met them at the Sky Garden. They were spending their time waiting for the portal to appear. Stay inside, he said calmly, looking at the baby dragon. The baby dragon let out a reluctant shrill before making its way into its dark home, Michael's coat pocket. Having a perfect way to keep the dragon safe didn't mean he could be careless. Many prying eyes of those rogue cultivators and of those who desire to have a dragon at their disposal might try to get their hands on the baby dragon. Obviously, he was not planning to keep the baby dragon hidden forever. What's the point of having a dragon if he couldn't show off to increase the badass points? But for now, he decided to keep the baby dragon hidden. He was positive that prominent figures he met before entering the Nether Realm would come again. Those people were ruthless, dangerous, and powerful enough to make him disappear overnight. Despite the system's nagging to explore this world, adventure out of Breedia, he was ignoring the system as his full focus was on getting stronger to the point where he doesn't need to worry about someone taking the things he loves and cherishes. At the present moment, he might have seemed overpowered, undefeatable even, but he only fought with inexperienced snotty kids like Maisie or Selena. The world was vast, there would be people who are cunning, strong yet deceitful. These people would overwhelm his advantage of having a system with their brain and actions. He was indeed the #1 hitman/assassin back on Earth, but that certainly didn't mean he's the #1 genius evil mastermind. To face people of that caliber, the only foolproof way he found is becoming powerful enough to defeat their tricks with overwhelming strength. This wasn't a novel he used to read, this was his life, a life he planned to live like a god. Unlike those main characters in the novels, he self-evaluated him to find his weaknesses as well as his strengths. Relying on luck or even on the system would not be one of his weaknesses. When he approached the campgrounds, he stopped using the lightning dash. By walking, he drew the attention of fewer eyes. One by one, the youngsters dismantled their tents. Some of them were fancy, some of them were makeshift, and the tent Michael was walking towards was not the latter. The flag with a large greatsword drawn on it waved in the wind majestically. Outside of the tent, a reddish-haired youngster calmly watched over his friends doing all the dirty work. There was a hint of surprise in Nathan's eyes when he laid his eyes on Ghost. Soon, he twitched his nose because Ghost didn't exactly smell like Jasmine's, he reeked blood and dust. Ghost, Nathan, each gave a short nod. It's fortunate I met you here. When we go outside, come with me to get your coins, said Nathan, making Michael grin in delight. Renovating the sect, building the restaurant cost them more than he expected. Even as he speaks, Gaia was taking money from the Majestic and spending it on the construction works. After Nathan settles his debt, he would be a 1.7 million richer. I didn't see you after the Sky Garden, any luck finding treasures? He probed Nathan to see him shake his head. Our sole purpose to come here was getting rare herbs. Fortunately, we got those on the very first day. So we didn't roam around the place looking for more treasures. Besides, I heard there weren't any treasures after the Sky Garden." Those brown eyes of Nathan contained a hint of suspicion within them. When he first met Ghost, he didn't reek blood, and now he is, which meant, he battled something, and chances were, he was trying to get a treasure. "I was fortunate enough to come across few," Michael answered, showing his lack of interest in discussing this further. Nathan was nice enough not to ask further questions, which Michael appreciated very much. "About that contract I promised, you have to come to Aragoth and ask for me. Will do as soon as I break through to the body strengthening stage." He intentionally let these words out to milk some badass points through impressing these youngsters. Just as he expected, he began to hear the ringing sounds of the system notification in his mind. Nathan's mouth slightly opened in sudden surprise. He was speechless. A few moments after, he regained his previous composure. "Very well then, meet me whenever you can," he said with a short nod. "Nathan, are you an alchemist as well?" Michael asked the question in his mind ever since he met Nathan. Nathan seemed like he was expecting this question from him. "Yes, I'm a level 2 alchemist. What gave me away?" For the first time, the serious expression on Nathan faded away, and instead, a small chuckle occupied his face. Michael pointed at him. "You said your sole purpose of coming to Nether Realm was to find rare herbs. Who else would do that except alchemists?" Besides, Nathan didn't exactly radiate a warrior vibe. In fact, he seemed like a person who grew up like a greenhouse flower in Michael's eyes. Boom! As he finished speaking, a thunderous clap could be heard. They looked at the light beam to see at the bottom, on the ground level, a grayish hole big enough to let in a group of 5 appear. "The portal has opened. Finally. Heck yeah. I'm going to drink myself to death." The rather silent atmosphere, the appearance of this portal instantly elevated the mood of these youngsters. They cheered, clapped, and bounced in joy, while a few who barely survived this place sighed in relief. "Shall we?" Michael gestured at Nathan to lead the way as he followed them behind to the portal, controlling the excitement of returning to his sect, his friend. The groups with either one of the 3 big sect symbol on their chest entered through the portal first, while everyone made way for them. Nathan and his group could have taken the first place, but Nathan just let them pass through for some reason. Finally, with one last look back at the Nether Realm, he stepped into the darkness, letting the portal surround him. Surprise, sucker. The very next moment Michael stepped out of the portal, he felt a sharp pain in his hand. He turned around with a wide grin to see Gaia was standing in front of him, showing her white row of teeth. "What are you doing here?" He didn't expect her to come over here to welcome him personally. This gesture of her truly surprised him. "Making sure you reach our home safely," she defined the house and the sect as our with no hesitation. "Yeah, right." He rolled his eyes, turning his gaze at the crowd to locate Nathan. As time passed, the ground became more and more crowded. "Come on, let's find those Aragoth people and get our money." "Wait a minute," she pulled his sleeve. She then stared at him, from his top to bottom, frowning. "Is there something you want to tell me?" Another surprise hit Michael's core. Apparently, she was great at reading faces, even Michael's. The baby dragon might have sensed the change in the surroundings and stopped moving, but she knew he was hiding something just by looking at the slight upcurve on the corner of his mouth. "Nope, just keep your damn mouth shut and follow me, plop." He playfully slapped the back of her neck, gesturing her to follow him. She would have ripped the hands off before even someone tries to slap her, but when it comes to him, she loved interactions like this. Wiggling through the crowd, he found the same flag as he did before. Nathan was surrounded by a bunch of youngsters of his age as well as a couple of older guys who wore distinctive crimson-colored clothes. House of Bradley, she immediately recognized those crimson-robed people as the members of House Bradley. Seeing him and Gaia approaching them, they whispered something into Nathan's ear as he turned around. "Uncle, he is the one I was talking about." From the crowd, a stutty-looking man stepped forward with 2 guards at each side. He was a level 10, core formation stage warrior. Michael could sense he was just a couple of months of cultivation from reaching the next stage. I heard you did good back there, young man. His hazel black eyes scanned Michael from head to toe while letting out a burst of wild laughter. It's an honor to meet you, sir, Michael said in return, grinning ear to ear. Cut the sir crap. Call me Lord Malin, as you wish. Lord Malin, here you go. The very next moment, Malin threw him a space ring with a horse etched onto it. This was the symbol of House Bradley. Michael did not even check inside the ring as he put the ring inside his system storage. This was a gesture to show them that he trusts them as well as to be in their good graces. If he wanted to survive in this world full of powerful men, he had to be under the shade of powerful men like House Bradley, until he himself reached the point of being the superpower. I heard you are also a 5-star alchemist. How about visit us sometime and let us pick your brain a little? Of course, Lord Malin, as soon as I finish dealing with some things back at my sect, I will come to visit you. Michael was not an idiot not to notice the ulterior motive behind Malin's invitation. Malin's voice betrayed him, showing Michael that this man needs something from him. Wonderful, and trust me, young man, it will be worth your time. Chapter 128. Brother Ghost is back. The moment he landed on the outskirts of the Sunrise sect, a group led by Jack let out a thunderous roar. They bounced, cheered, and screamed his name, making Michael smile a bit. Among the crowd of disciples, he also noticed a group of new faces who had musical instruments such as drums, marimba, Audiobook drum, and pandero. Previously, when he first came to the sect, the outskirts were occupied with overgrown shrubs, thorns, and one could definitely tell this place was not very much looked after. However, at the present moment, nothing was overgrown. Thorns had completely disappeared from his sight. The shrubs were replaced with seedlings of flower plants. Brother Ghost, Jack came running bearing a face full of excitement and joy. Jack, you've leveled up. Jack moved on from Foundation Stage Level 4 to Level 8. Michael patted him on the back, making Jack grin even more. I gave that bastard enough pills to reach the body refining stage. Plop. As usual, Gaia slapped Jack as everyone began to laugh out loud. What are you waiting for? Beat it. Jack ordered, looking at the group with musical instruments. Instantly the festive music reverberated the foothills of the Sunrise sect, showing every single living being of Michael's triumph return. The beats, the dance, and the festive mood that could be seen on everyone's face slightly reminded him of the Carnival of Rio de Janeiro back on Earth. Unlike back on Earth, he was not here to assassinate someone but to enjoy his life. The male and female disciples forgot about their gender and rocked their bodies, swaying with the beats. You know about this? While making his way to the top, he asked Gaia, who do you think is paying for this? She said, waving her hands. Inside his pocket, the beats awakened the baby dragon. It began to scratch his chest, asking him to let it out. For the next few minutes, Michael kept patting his chest, calming the baby dragon. He did not want to reveal the existence of the baby dragon just yet. Eventually, the sight of the newly renovated buildings fell in his eyes. His brows arched in surprise. The buildings were nowhere near finished, but they were already looking better, much better than the previous ruins. Now we are talking, he thought, feeling the excitement stirring up in his heart. Thank you guys. Looking at the elders and Claire waiting for him in front of the teacher's quarters, Michael said to the musicians with a short smile. Ghost, welcome back to the world of the living, young man. Claire stepped forward, giving him a loving embrace, an embrace of a big sister. Even though his full focus was on getting stronger to rule this world, people like Claire added flavors to his life. In his previous life, he had no people to share his happiness or sadness. Now, thanks to this mysterious system, he got a friend like Gaia, loving people like elders and Claire. You have something in your pocket? Claire asked, feeling something wiggling inside Michael's chest. The very next moment, everyone's gaze landed on Michael's chest. Indeed, there was something wiggling. I knew you were hiding something. She turned him to face her, pulling his shoulders. Take it out. You asked for it. With a chuckle, Michael gently grabbed the baby dragon and pulled it out. A moment of stillness occupied the scene before Gaia jumped back, letting out a squeal. Hoo-hoo, like it met a lifelong enemy. the baby dragon hissed at Gaia. The dragons and the Nagas were two foes in nature's order. Like a cat doesn't need a reason to hate a mouse, these two were just like that, only in larger, bloodthirsty creatures. A dragon. Holy fuck. My god. None noticed the change in Gaia's face as all their eyes were locked onto the baby dragon. The cute crimson-colored scaly created had attracted all the eyes instantly from Michael himself. Can I? Claire's hands trembled approaching the baby dragon, her voice stuttered. Hoo, it's okay, Michael reassured the baby dragon. For a few seconds, the baby dragon hesitated, sniffing Claire's hands before finally letting her take it into her arms. Brother Ghost, that's a dragon, Jack stuttered while everyone except him crowding around Claire to see the baby dragon. Where did you dash? He couldn't even finish his question. Shock overwhelmed his ability to speak. Where else? Nether realm, Michael said. He then turned around to see Gaia's face show a mix of anger and fear. He could tell she was fracking out despite her power. I don't want that lizard here, she kicked the ground beneath her, surprise sucker. At the present moment, Michael was lying on the royal sofa. The baby dragon and Gaia were having a staring contest in front of him. If he wanted to break through peacefully, he had to resolve this petty hostility between her and this little dragon. In the future, these two may have to fight beside each other. How could they do that if they don't trust each other? He must root out the hate for each other from their hearts before the baby dragon grows up to be a big dragon. For Gaia, he decided to give her some tough love to realize how stupid it is to fight with this baby dragon. Gaia, what? She asked without taking her eyes off the baby dragon. Doesn't this seem childish to you? He stepped in, giving a quick slap to both on the head. Michael aimed his eyes at Gaia, you're a grown-ass girl, yet, you are fighting with this baby dragon. She tried to open her lips, only to get yelled at again. I don't give a damn about what the dragons did to Nagas or Nagas to dragons. I want you two to trust each other, no food for you two until you find a way to get along. A horrified expression could be seen on their faces. The baby dragon let out a crying hoo-hoo. He was deadly serious about starving them, she could tell that much. Now she had two choices. The first choice, trying to steal food from the restaurant, but she didn't believe she could achieve that feat with him around. The second choice, find a way to get along with the baby dragon as he said. Hoo-hoo, this is not my fault, you little asshole. She wanted to strangle the baby dragon when she heard it blame her for his anger. The baby dragon hissed, ready to scratch her pretty face. It didn't feel a bit afraid of his natural enemy, Naga. After Michael's departure, they continued the staring contest, trying to figure out a way to get along. Since he had to break through to the body-strengthening stage, he ordered Gaia not to renovate the house when he was in the Nether realm. So this worn-out home remained the same. He sat on his bed, eyes closed. System, let's begin. System version 2.0 Host, Michael. Cultivation level, body refining stage, level 10 experience points. 18000/200000, 1,110,000 experience points remaining to be consumed. Badass points, 70,000 skills and spells. Wind Blast, LVL2 Responsive Shield, LVL3 Environment Scanning, LVL2 Ignitia, LVL2 Lightning Dash, LVL2 Energy Devour, LVL1 Death Range, LVL2 Techniques, Swords of Destiny, 88% Mastery Occupation, Core Disciple of Sunrise Sect, the Guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the Abyssal Status, Healthy Goals. Control the World, Rebuild the Order of Death. Utility Function, Banker, LVL2, Ratio, 1000 Gold Coins, 5 Badass Points, Wealth, 685,000 Gold. Special Trait, 5-star Alchemist Subordinates, Gaia, Loyalty level 95%, Base of Operation, Sunrise Sect, the Abyssal. He willed his status to come forward, staring at all the unconsumed experience points. He began the process of breaking through. Does the host wish to break through to the body strengthening stage? Yes, the system requires host 3 days to reach the next stage. Warning, the system will be offline for 3 days. upgrade yourself to version 3 and then begin the breakthrough process, Michael ordered the system telepathically. The next moment, the interface in front of him faded away and darkness surrounded his mind. In the pitch-black darkness, Michael's consciousness brought him the memories of Earth. The way he grew up in an orphanage that was a front to an arms and drugs dealing operation. He was bullied and beaten by those things despite his little age every day. As a little kid, he wanted to be a teacher. Every time the thugs would ask the kids in the orphanage to smuggle drugs, Michael resisted them. In return he would be beaten to a pulp, beaten until his little heart finally gave up resisting them. He learned to adapt, bend the situation to his favor. In this life, the circumstances changed but odds against him remained the same. After 3 days, congratulations to the host for reaching the next stage, the body strengthening stage. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 1. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 2. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 3. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 4. The system has been successfully upgraded to version 3. Omega level warning. Activating countermeasures. System's safe mode activated. Chapter 129. The system's bluish interface flickered. Soon, the bluish color turned to something gray, dark. What the heck happened? An Omega level warning. What is that? Many questions riddled his mind. System level is too low to answer host's question. Why am I not surprised? Michael sighed. Little by little, he began to realize something called Omega is messing with the system. This system was not like a system in the novels he used to read about. The badass system seemed to have a backstory of its own, enemies of its own. The system was an absolute peak existence in his mind, but now, it looked like there's something beyond that. He was nowhere near facing threats on that scale. All he could do for now was getting stronger. He showed this Omega threat to the corner of his mind and focused on his stats. System version 3. 0. Safe mode. Host, Michael. Cultivation level, body strengthening stage, level 4. Experience points, 190000/300000 badass points, 40,000 skills and spells, wind blast, LVL2 responsive shield, LVL3 environment scanning, LVL2 ignition, LVL2 lightning dash, LVL2 energy devolver, LVL1 death range, LVL2 techniques, swords of destiny, 88% mastery. Occupation, core disciple of Sunrise Sect, the guardian of Sunrise Sect, Lord Lucifer of the abyssal status, healthy goals, control the world, rebuild the order of death. Utility function, banker, LVL2, ratio, 1000 gold coins, 5 badass points, wealth, 1,685,000 gold. Special trait, 5-star alchemist subordinates, Gaia, loyalty level 95%, base of operation, Sunrise Sect. The abyssal system. How much for upgrading the banker function to level 3? A loading icon appeared in front of him. This was new, yet he decided not to ask because he knew it might be related to the system running on safe mode. 20,000 badass points. The ration will be 1,000 gold coins to 10 badass points. With no hesitation, he willed the system to upgrade the function. In a desperate situation, 100 badass points could save his life, so keeping this function upgraded would let him get those life-saving badass points. Base of operation, the Sunrise Sect. Current leader, Claire Marigold. Level, 1. Number of members, 34. Status, declined legend, 30/1000. Still a crappy old sect where a 5-star alchemist resides. Compared to before, there was no debt, and the legend of the sect increased by 10 points. He did not feel demotivated by the measly 10 points increase. He knew the legend would grow after putting his plan for the Broad River sect in motion. Besides, he still didn't give all the spell scrolls he got from the cave, not to mention the 80 to 100 herbs he plucked from the Sky Garden. Furthermore, He was absolutely positive that getting the contract of Aragoth would not only bring him millions of gold coins but also elevate the sect status. Time to learn a new spell. Excitement overwhelmed his senses. He opened the system storage. Ring of Fire. Spell name: Ring of Fire. Effect: creates a shockwave of flames and a ring of fire around the caster for a short amount of time. Upgradable through mentor function. Current level: Rare. System: I wish to learn this spell. In his arsenal, Ignitia acted as both close combat and long-range combat spell. The sword mastery enhanced his close combat skill even further. The only thing he lacked was an area of effect, AoE spell. This Ring of Fire could be the fix to that problem. Activating mentor feature: scanning the Ring of Fire spell. System found improvements to the spell. Does the host wish to improve the spell? Yes, he said without hiding the excitement in his heart. 1,000 badass points required to improve the spell. Oh, I thought you were going to do this for free. Sarcasm overflowed in his tone. Take it. He experienced the familiar acute pain in his brain. When he opened his eyes, his vision was blocked by a crimson-red warning. Maximum recommended spell number reached. The system advised host to stop learning any more spells before reaching the next stage in cultivation. Exceeding the maximum spell number would result in nausea, headache, muscle pain, memory loss, etc. Geez, fuck, I was kinda hoping to learn all these rare spells to become super op. The warning really frustrated him. He gritted his teeth and swallowed the frustration. He could not fight the system. The rational thing to do was upgrade the existing spells before learning more, despite his desire to learn new spells. The Ring of Fire mastery was at the level of 50%. If he wanted to reach 100%, he had to practice the spell and use this spell more often. Alright, I can live with the spells I already have. Hey, suddenly Michael remembered something. System, where are my rewards for upgrading you? Oh, come on, why should I upgrade your ass if you won't give me some sort of rewards? Host will get rewards after the system terminates the safe mode, and when would that be? The silence made him even more frustrated thinking about the 30,000 badass points he spent on upgrading this jerk of a system. Finally, with a long sigh, he closed the system, letting his eyes bathe in the daylight. Sister Elia. That damn lizard tore my clothes. Hoo, I'm gonna tear you apart. Sister Elia, calm down, it's just a baby. Outside of his room, he heard the yellings. What now? He sighed and made his way towards the door. He opened the door to see the baby dragon in Cindy's hands while Gaia was waving a thin needle-like stick at the baby dragon. However, all of them paused seeing him walk out of his room. Brother Ghost. Ho. Cindy almost threw her hands up, dropping the baby dragon in her hands when she saw him. The baby dragon wagged its tail like a puppy, reached out its claws to shower him with kisses. He crouched down to receive a soft tender kiss from Cindy on one cheek and wet nibbling kisses on the other from the baby dragon. Body strengthening stage level 4, why am I not surprised? He was just a body refining stage cultivator a few weeks ago, now he turned himself into a body strengthening stage level 4 warrior. His speed of cultivation was really monstrous, even she couldn't be compared to his speed. Coupled with his war god body and the orc who could summon netherals, she knew he's going to get even stronger. Although she had a bad feeling about this orc, they had to work with the orc to grow their strength. The church and the guardians were still searching for Jane's killer. She knew that Selena would soon come looking for Ghost in blind anger. To face a threat like the church or the guardians, they needed servants like this orc. Cindy, when did you reach the foundation stage? Michael pecked her on the cheek, ruffling her carefully combed hair. Sister Elia is teaching me to cultivate, really. Actually, he was surprised to see the selfish snake care about Cindy. Hoo, I missed you too, baby dragon. The baby dragon was relentlessly kissing all over his face, trying its absolute best to get his attention. Cindy, where's your mother? He carried the little girl in his hand while the baby dragon sat on top of his shoulder. Seeing its human has returned, the baby dragon felt safe. Looking at Gaia, it stuck its tongue out giving her a "yeah I did tear your clothes" look. Don't be too cocky, lizard, I can still squeeze you to death. The hostility he saw the first time in their eyes now became less. At least they didn't kill each other, he thought. Mother and little brother is still at River Town, I will meet them there. And Elia, she was lazily laying on the sofa, what? She asked. I have a gift for you. Her face slightly brightened as she stood straight on the sofa. Michael retrieved the femur he got from the skeleton, instantly making everyone in the room feel the pressure. Whoa! Gaia was overwhelmed by the arch-energy radiation coming from the bone. She walked towards him with a slightly open mouth. This is... Yes, a bone of a fusion stage cultivator. She took the bone with the utmost care from Michael's hand. The baby dragon stared at the bone, sensing the power, while Cindy just scratched her little head, having no idea about the bone. You can absorb this energy to reach the next level. She blankly nodded, still feeling overwhelmed by the energy. Do you have more? He wanted to punch this greedy snake in the face. Many would kill to get their hands on a single bone, yet she was asking for more with a serious face. Yeah, I have a whole skeleton under my bed, he answered sarcastically, making her chuckle a bit. Where to? She put the bone in her space ring and asked him on his way to the outside. To expand our herbal garden, he would have given the herbs to Gaia 3 days ago, but these herbs were rare and required his attention while planting. Therefore, he kept the herbs until now, to the herbi garden. Cindy shouted joyfully, pointing her finger towards the herbal garden's direction. Yes, to the herbi garden. Chapter 130. Even from hundreds of meters away from the herbal garden, one could smell the medicinal fragrance in the air. Lush green, morning sky orange, rose pink and various colors of plants welcomed Michael with a sway in the wind. The disciples were watering the herbs regularly under the supervision of Elder Reiner, who now built a swing in the middle of the herbal garden to spend his free time in this peaceful atmosphere. At the present moment, the herbal garden was approximately 500 square feet in area. Quite a distance from the garden area, he noticed a couple of workers digging through. What are they doing? He asked Gaia. Well, build a dome covering the garden, a glass dome, it'll be grand. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, talking about the dome. Of course, we don't have enough coins to start the construction. They are just digging the ground for the foundation, Michael nodded. Expanding the herbal garden would definitely increase the sect's legend as well as help him make varieties of potions and pills. Since Gaia was a core formation warrior, he could start expanding the garden with no fear of someone stealing his herbs. He also planned to use the Aragoth as his protection charm. Elder Reiner, the lookalike of Gandalf, was startled noticing Michael's cultivation level. His jaws opened wide. Young man, when did you reach the body strengthening stage and how did you jump 4 levels? He came forward, leaving the swing. Nether realm, Elder Reiner, I was lucky to find a few rare herbs. Do you want to see them? Elder Reiner's face brightened as he nodded vigorously like a little child. Michael flicked his wrist, ordering the system to place all the herbs in the storage in front of him. The very next moment, 98 to be exact herbs appeared in a neat row, making Elder Reiner almost faint on the spot because all of them were rare, extremely rare. He didn't open up the matter that he gave legendary herbs like tiger cress, diamond leaf, oglio root, and cavern petal to Aragoth in exchange for the alchemy supply contract. So many herbs. Elder Reiner dropped to his knees, smelling, feeling, touching the herbs one by one. Although he didn't recognize many herbs in here, he could sense the powerful medical arch-energy radiating from within those herbs. You really had a great time there, didn't you? Gaia knew about his actions in the herbal garden. Still, seeing these herbs with her eyes slightly shocked her. Pretty. Cindy's big eyes sparkled looking at the ocean jasmine, which was a transparent ocean blue flower. The sweet fragrance and the beauty of the 5-petal flower overwhelmed Cindy. It's called ocean jasmine, am I right, ghost? Suddenly he heard the voice of Claire. Turning around, he saw sect leader Claire, as beautiful as the ocean jasmine itself, walking towards him with a smile like a morning sunray. Her golden blonde hair now became more golden and wavy, dancing in on her shoulder. You're right, sect leader Claire, you have grown stronger. Claire clutched his biceps playfully, not as stunned as Elder Reiner. After hearing what Gaia did to those adventurers and Michael's feat during the Phoenix auction fair, she herself had grown stronger, tougher. She wanted to be the leader everyone follows to death, not a sissy. What could make her afraid when she has Ghost behind her? His reputation had even reached the capital city. The king of Breedia himself treated them with the utmost respect because of Ghost. He was the guardian for all of them. Michael didn't fail to notice the confidence in her eyes. The woman in front of him was not the meekly soft Claire he first met. This was a new person. Not only her, everyone in the sect seemed to be a new person. He affected the greater than he expected. She gave a quick kiss to the baby dragon on his shoulder and then she looked at the little Cindy. When Michael put the little girl down, she immediately went straight to the ocean jasmine, burying her nose onto the petals. Just as she was about to pluck the flower, Claire grabbed her little hands. Cindy, if you love a flower, don't pluck it. Because if you pluck it, it dies and it ceases to be what you love. So if you love a flower, let it be. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Michael didn't mind Cindy pluck the flower. Of course, he would have reminded her of the preciousness of the flower before giving it to her because he would never spoil her. However, Claire's words made more sense. Yes, Teacher Claire, I will not pluck any flowers, I promise. Good. Claire ruffled her head, giving her a warm kiss on the forehead. Elder Reiner, shall we start planting them? For the next few hours, Elder Reiner, Michael, Jack, and many male disciples got their hands dirty planting each herb in the suitable place following Michael's instruction. Gaia, Claire, and the girls made lemonade, keeping the workers energetic while the baby dragon played fetch with Cindy. The scene resembled the scenes of a happy feel-good movie. Michael mixed the netheril ash with the soil in the right ratio to make the herbs grow faster and healthier. The previously 500 square feet garden now became almost triple the size, as many of the herbs Michael brought would take a lot of ground to grow. After finishing planting them, he plucked enough leaves, roots, flowers, and parts of the herbs to make new pills and potions. What are we gonna make? Gaia came after they had done all the dirty work. Though she was with Claire who made lemonades for them, the snake was only there to drink them, not to work, not to help. Wisdom potion, mind control pills, love potion, elemental resistance potion, perception pills, hallucination potion, camouflage potion, enhanced healing potion, and the one we talked about, the latter was the pill to counteract the lie-detecting potion. There was a chance of Selena bring this potion to test him to see if he had anything to do with Jane's death. This recipe to neutralize the effects of the lie-detecting potion could only be concocted by him because he bought the recipe from the system. There were two ways to see someone whether lying or not, that potion and the lie detector array. The latter was better than the potion. It could even detect a half-immortal's lies, but it had downsides. It cannot be transported, and extremely expensive to create one in the first place. According to Gaia, Nagaland has one and the church in Kingdom Zaynad. Even an immortal couldn't relocate or transport the array, let alone a puny body-strengthening warrior like Selena. Sect leader Claire, we need to discuss something. Call all the elders. He was calm, collected, and radiated confidence in his eyes. Seeing his demeanor, Claire didn't worry much but nodded. The matter about the Broad River sect, right? Michael nodded at Gaia. He wanted to take a bath before attending the meeting with Claire and the elders because he was reeking blood, sweat, and netheril. He then sent Cindy to help the elders any way she can. After the little girl's figure disappeared from their sight, Gaia spoke. I asked around about the Broad River sect. They are relatively a small sect that has a total of 152 disciples, 10 teachers, 4 elders, and 1 sect leader who is the strongest, core formation level 5. Gaia served him with the information she collected about the sect. They mainly focus on runes, but those jokers only have 1 3-star rune master and a couple of 2 stars teaching runes. What about the sect's location? Asked Michael. Near a broad river in Sarton, hence their name. They don't have huge lands such as us though. They'll be our first branch. Michael and Gaia grinned devilishly, sharing the same thought. Also Gaia, I want you to teach cultivation to Cindy's friends. We should nurture them from little to make them loyal to us. that way, they'll make a great loyal army in the future. He turned into an assassin because those drug dealers abused him and the kids in the orphanage to smuggle drugs. It was the starting point of his path to becoming an assassin. Although he would never abuse those little kids, he did decide to use them. His path to rule this world shadowed his moral codes. To become a ruler of this world, he had to sacrifice a part of his soul. The seed of the Dark Lord inside him had already started to sprout, more than he wanted to. I like the way you think, human, she returned, a devilish grin of her own. At the present moment, he did not know what he was slowly becoming. He was thinking that everything's under control, except the universe. The higher power has a different plan. However, does everything in this world is black and white? What makes Michael the bad guy and what makes Noah the good guy? Is Michael really the bad guy for planning to use those innocent kids? There's something you should know about the Broad River sect, human. Chapter 131. Matthias Mills was sitting in his carriage with his hand bracing his head. A flash of anger could be seen on his tanned face. His sharp gaze stared at the lines of the tree they were passing by. In front of him, a middle-aged woman was pouring him tea. Despite the black cloak covering her face, her movements weren't interrupted by the cloak at all. "Drink this tea, sect leader, it'll soothe your anger," the woman said. If one was to look closely, they could see the burn mark within those shadows of the cloak. "Nothing can soothe my anger, Ella," gritting his teeth, Matthias answered. "Well, something should, before we make it to the Sunrise sect, sect leader." Without letting the tea go to waste, Ella took a sip instead of giving him. Matthias' gaze turned from the scenery outside to Ella, who was now leisurely enjoying the tea. "I'm saying this for your own good, sect leader, don't underestimate that ghost. Nowadays these young freaks disobey the laws of nature like eating breakfast," meaning. Matthias' tone was filled with rage. She knew he is boiling in anger, yet she continued with paying no mind to his mood, meaning, "You can't weigh him by just looking at his cultivation level. I heard he killed a body-strengthening stage cultivator when he was at a foundation stage. Funny thing is, he was also a sect leader." "Are you implying dash?" "I'm implying nothing. I just want you to be calm when we talk to him. Don't be rash," Ella interrupted Matthias, advising him not to be rash except she wanted him to be. "If you don't mind, sect leader, let me do the talking." A flash of anger ran through his face. He reached out, then he grabbed Ella by her neck as he said, "I do mind because I'm the sect leader, not you." He was squeezing the life out of Ella. She was helpless. Only after a few moments of torturing her, he let go of her neck. "Don't think I don't know you eyeing the sect leader's seat for yourself, but you can't be the face of the sect with a face like that." A murderous glare could be seen in her eyes, but the only thing she could do is swallow her anger and wait for the right time to strike him down. "Just wait until I reach the core formation stage. I'll rip you to pieces," thought Ella. The rest of the journey was filled with silence in the carriage until they saw lines of carriages and crowds of people. Ella recognized most of the carriages belonged to the noble houses of Sarton. Her disciples told her about the Majestic and its business, yet seeing with her own eyes surprised her nonetheless. The crowd was queuing from the foothills to the Majestic, which was located atop the mountain in front of them. They had to reach the mountaintop to reach their meeting spot, but their path was blocked by these carriages and crowds. "Stop!" Just as they were about to stop behind the last carriage in the queue to the top, they heard the voice of a teenager. Ella looked outside through the window to see a blonde-haired youngster waiting for them in front of the carriage. "Sect leader Matthias, Elder Ella, welcome to Sunrise sect. Follow me, sect leader Claire is waiting for you." Seeing there's no way for them to reach the top in the carriage, Ella and Matthias stepped out of the carriage to follow this youngster. "Why didn't Claire come to receive me?" The moment Matthias stepped out, he scowled at the youngster while Ella just stood back waiting for the events to unfold. "Sect leader Claire," the young man emphasized the word sect leader and continued, "is handling something very important, so she sent me to personally receive you and lead you to her. If you please, follow me." The way the youngster answered sparked the fuel of anger inside Matthias. The youngster was just a body refining stage cultivator, level 1 at that, yet he showed no fear seeing a core formation cultivator like Matthias. "Lead the way, kid." Ella was bouncing in joy. the more anger Matthias gets, the better the chance for him to start a battle with Ghost. With a nod towards Ella, he turned around and walked towards the top of the mountain. While they were following the young man, Ella saw a group of girls in revealing dresses, Silvermoon girls. Ella recognized the young man, immediately waved his hands at them, almost like he was instructed to. Hey, Brother Ghost said he has new pills and potions that would help your senior sister Kaplan. Remind her to visit him, will do, Jack. The girls gave a flying kiss to the young man, making all the youngsters in the crowd look at him with envy. So Jack, are they friends, Ghost and Sadie, the core disciple of Silvermoon? Ella pondered. Of course, Elder Ella. Jack was leading them through the long route so they could notice the renovation sites. Although Matthias paid little interest in the renovation works due to his anger, what he saw was bewildered him. This was not the desolate place he saw a couple of years ago. Everything now seemed improved. Those once cobwebbed, worn-out buildings were being built and renovated. Workers were reconstructing the old paths made of stones with marble tiles. Another group was trimming the overgrown shrubs and bushes which previously made the area look untended. Ella saw the Sunrise sect disciples before. At that time, they wore the bright orange uniforms, but now, including the youngster in front of her, the disciples wore clothes that were either black or closer to the color black. Oh, I almost forgot. Jack bit his tongue, taking out 2 pamphlets with the Sunrise sect symbol drawn on them. He then handed over the pamphlets to Matthias and Ella. Without even taking a single glance, Matthias crumbled his pamphlet and threw it away. Ella, on the other hand, took a closer look. I'd love to take a tour around your sect, Jack. Matthias threw a cold glance at her as she shrugged. What? Since you don't want me to do the talking, let me at least do this. Matthias saw no trouble in letting her take a stroll around this place. It was not like she could do anything by taking a tour. Wonderful, Elder Ella. Well, begin our tour. After leaving sect leader Matthias at sect leader Claire's residence, Jack clapped his hands, almost sighing inside. After taking another 100 or so steps through the construction site, they reached lines of individual houses which looked majestic, grand even. Each house was almost finished, but even at this stage, the triangle roof on the front, 3 long chimneys on the top, that white and royal blue paint gave each house a sumptuous characteristic. This time, Matthias' eyes widened in surprise as he followed the youngster to the house which was just a couple of weeks from getting finished. Take a break, people, Jack shouted at the people who were placing windows, sandpapering the walls to start the painting works, as well as cultivating the ground in front of the house to ornamenting the house with plants and such. Jack's relationship with Gaia and Ghost gave him a certain pull within the sect. He had become the go-to guy to contact Gaia or Ghost. This increased his reputation among his fellow disciples, especially among girls. Sect leader Matthias, sect leader Claire is waiting for you inside. Is this where the famous Ghost of Rivertown lives? Ella asked Jack, looking at the one house which had no renovation going on. Except for its worn-out look, she could see nobles and the rich going inside using the side entrance and coming out with a wide grin on their faces. We are waiting for the rest of the buildings to get renovated, Elder Ella. After that, we'll turn this shabby old house into a mansion worthy for our senior brother Ghost and senior sister Elia. Jack wouldn't let anyone look down on Ghost or Elia. Go through the front entrance, Elder Ella. Brother Ghost is waiting for you. Ella wasn't surprised to hear Jack because, on the pamphlet he gave her before, there were 3 golden words flickered, Meet me, Ghost. Those words were enchanted to let only the holder, Ella, see the words, not Matthias. She nodded before taking slow steps towards the door. Even with a body-strengthening level 9 cultivation, she couldn't help but feel the seed of fear growing inside her regardless of Ghost's cultivation level. Creak. With a long sigh of a mix of fear and excitement for this meeting, she opened the door to be stunned by things in front of her. From the outside, the house looked nothing but shabby, old and worn out, yet on the inside, there were fancy cushions, sofas, tables, and many other things that could only be seen in a place like King's Palace. Welcome, Elder Ella. Her gaze moved from the fancy sofas to the direction of the voice. She saw a youngster in a black long-sleeved tunic and trousers. His raven black hair danced around his broad shoulder. A warm smile could be seen on his perfectly structured face. Through the transparent black long sleeves he wore, she could see the lines of the six-pack abs and big biceps. Her eyes were momentarily glued to this handsome man she had ever met. How long are you planning to stand there, Elder Ella? Chapter 132. Ella sat on the comfiest sofa she had ever rested her, but yet she couldn't enjoy its comfort to the fullest under his gaze. Her heartbeat slightly increased, not only because of the attraction towards the opposite gender but also because of his cultivation level, body strengthening stage, level 4. Cultivation speed like this was monstrous, heaven-defying, and godly. Despite the large crowds outside, the room was silent. Soon after, a woman in her early 30s came through the door behind him carrying a tray with 2 cups on it. The sweet fragrance coming from those cups made Ella's voice salivate to the point that she wanted to jump and gulp whatever inside the cups. Ghost grabbed the cup with a smile and then, the woman placed the tray before Ella. Please take it, Elder Ella. Regardless of her covered face, the woman gave her a wide grin, not a fake one but a genuine grin. Ella was surprised by the hospitality. Thank you. She couldn't wait any longer. She brought the cup near to her nose, getting overwhelmed by the fragrance. Soon, she took a short sip, just only to feel a burst of electricity run through her body. Her black hood covered the sight of her eyes widened. This was nothing like she had tasted before, like nothing. All of her taste buds and the tongue felt alive, delighted, and overwhelmed. Delicious, isn't it? After Michael upgraded the system to version 3, he was able to quickly imbue the secret element into the ingredients Raylene brought from Breedia. Although the system said the secret element was pure arch energy, he somewhat had a hard time believing it. Anyhow, the system made changes to the ingredients in the microparticle level, and coupled with Raylene's 5-star chef trait, anything made out of these ingredients became extremely delicious. This is drugs. No, it's better than drugs, thought Ella, quickly finishing the tea in no time. Yes, it is delicious. After a few moments, Ella asked, well, Elder Ella, meet the only 5-star in the entire kingdom of Breedia. Ella's mouth opened further, staring at the woman obediently standing behind Michael. Do you know what is the most powerful profession, Elder Ella? Michael asked after placing the cup on the table in front of him. Ella blankly shook her head. She was still overwhelmed by the fact the woman in front of her is a 5-star chef. She didn't doubt this fact because no one else could have made a simple tea this delicious. Alchemy, there are potions and pills for nearly everything, including for those burn wounds. Michael pointed at Ella's half-burned face. Her heart skipped a beat, mouth became dry as she mumbled, how dash, baby dragon. Ella heard a squawking sound. Her mind was blank due to overwhelming surprises and shock she has been receiving ever since she stepped into his home. Soon, Raylene took the cups and left the room, leaving them to their meeting. Wow, she jumped back on her couch. It was a little dragon, a baby dragon. She had never seen a baby dragon before, or a real dragon for that matter, but she had seen paintings of dragons and the creature in front of her resembled the paintings. She felt the noble aura the creature was radiating. Each of its movements was majestic, dignified. It climbed on his shoulder with ease and dropped the thumb-sized cup it was carrying in its mouth. Michael sent the thumb-sized ceramic cup floating towards Ella. Apply this cream on the wound in your wrist. Michael had seen those wounds on her forearm despite her full sleeves. This will go a lot smoother if you trust me, Elder Ella. Besides, you have nothing to lose by applying that cream. The baby dragon knew he gave her an order, and it kept staring at her until she slowly took a small amount of this bluish cream and applied it to her wound. The cream touched her skin. Her burned skin had long ago lost the sense of touch. Even she wouldn't look at her face or her naked body without feeling nauseated. Half of her body had ugly burn wounds that made her cry her eyes out every single day. Until 13 years ago, she was a pretty girl. Even though she was not an angelic beauty who would instantly make men fall in love with them, she had a few followers. She was the one who was meant to be the next sect leader of the Broad River sect, but this fact changed when she met with an accident she would never forget until she dies. That day, she was caught inside a burning room. Until to this day, she had no idea how the fire started. The fire engulfed her home and all of her servants. Fortunately, her parents weren't at home that cursed day. Because of her wounds, the elders and the sect leader chose the next in line as the new sect leader, Matthias stating that with those wounds, she can't be the one who leads the sect. They were right, those wounds changed her from within. She was never the same person after that night. Men who courted her wouldn't even take a glance at her, those who had no heart would make fun of her. Her friends left her because they couldn't be seen with an ugly freak like her. Slowly she started to wash away her feelings and griefs in booze, drugs, and anything that could numb her brain. This addiction of hers chased away her parents, leaving her alone. Only after a few years, she slowly began to realize what happened that night was not an accident but a planned event. The booze numbed her brain and kept her from realizing this sooner. When she started to investigate through any means necessary, she had found that it was Matthias who planned this. However, her realization came too late as he had already reached the core formation while she was struggling at the body refining stage. The vengeance made her quit drinking and focusing solely on her cultivation. For the past 10 years, she was controlling the urge to kill him and waiting for the right moment to strike. Matthias did not know her true intentions. As far as he was concerned, she was plotting to steal the leader position from him. What dash, she gasped the very next moment she applied the cream. The wound on the place she put the cream vanished instantly. On that place, new smooth skin began to appear. She immediately pulled her sleeve up and then, she scooped the cream, trying to apply the small amount of cream everywhere. Although the cream was not enough for all the wounds on her hand, everywhere the cream touched, the wounds got healed. It was simply a miracle because she had hired numerous healers and tried hundreds of alchemy products but not a single one of them could heal her wounds because the fire that burned her skin was not a normal fire but the holy fire. Your wounds will appear again after a few days but I can make them disappear forever. There was a small pause in his voice before continuing, only if you do my bidding, he said while gently rubbing the baby dragon's chin. He looked calm and careless. Anything, she saw those ugly wounds disappear. She felt the cold breeze brushing through her smooth skin again. She wanted this cream, she wanted it desperately. As we speak, sect leader Claire is making an offer to merge your sect with mine under the leadership of sect leader Claire. But you know the outcome of this, right? She nodded, knowing very well that Matthias won't even consider this, not even in a million years. I can simply kill him and subdue your sect within a day, but if I did that, your people will sooner or later revolt, hinder the growth of my sect. She knew he was right. Matthias may be an evil son of a bitch to her, but everyone in the sect would definitely leave or revolt if Ghost forces them to join his sect. That's where you come in, Elder Ella. I know you were the next in line after your previous sect leader, and I also know Matthias is the one who did this to you. I want you to convince your people to join my sect. In return, since sect leader Claire can't be in 2 locations at once, well, leave the Broad River sect in your care. Plus, it'll heal your wounds. This was a sweet deal. Ella would have even poisoned the entire sect for that miraculous cream if he had asked her to. I will do it, Ella said with a firm resolve in her voice, making him grin wide. Michael left all the planning and convincing stuff to Ella as she knew the people of the Broad River sect better than him. Eventually, after speaking for another couple of minutes, Ella left his home, leaving him with the baby dragon. What happened with Ella? Gaia entered the room and plunged herself into the sofa. Just as we planned. How's your end? He wants you to come to his sect, apologize in front of everyone, take 100 whips from each person's family you've killed. How predictable, he sneered. He gave you a week of time. If you don't go there by the end of this time, he said that he will come here personally to drag you there. Then Ella has a week of time to convince them. Chapter 133. Alright, I have one last thing to do before going to River Town, said Michael, thinking about the new spell in his arsenal, the Ring of Fire spell. Ah, the new spell, give it to me. Since they shared almost everything, she came to him asking for the new spell. She also wanted to learn this new spell. Knock yourself out. This wasn't a spell he bought from the system, therefore, he simply decided to share this spell with her, only with her. A rare spell, baby dragon. While Gaia was running her eyes through the spell scroll, he shouted for his pet. Up until now, he didn't come up with a badass name suitable for this dragon, so he was calling the baby dragon a baby dragon. Of course, Gaia suggested the following names: Ugly Lizard, Dicky, Assaholen, Shit Face, and many other weird foul names. The baby dragon had taken note in its little heart, plotting its revenge against her in the dark. The one good thing that came up from their bickering was the baby dragon's gender. The baby dragon was a boy, which made their rivalry even worse. The one common thing they had was food. Both of them shared an enormous appetite. He even wondered how this baby dragon's stomach held that much food. Hoo-hoo-hoo, the baby dragon came hopping to him, then it clawed its way to his shoulder, not before sending a blob of saliva to the spell scroll in her hands. One day it'll make you eat a boatload of shit, hoo-hoo, the baby dragon chuckled, but his chuckle was stopped when a tiny orb of fire hit his head. Hoo-hoo-hoo, he hissed, looking at the orbs of fire dancing above Gaia's fingers. Burn my hair, you can't even light a candle, a rare kind of dragon you are. Hee. Unlike Michael, she perfectly understood the meaning of the baby dragon's hoo-hoos. Stop it, you two, Michael chuckled, making his way to one of the construction sites. Where Michael was going to is the construction site of the office building Gaia was planning to build in the near future. The ground was barren, only a bunch of practice dummies could be seen on the site. He asked Jack to place these dummies to test the power of the new spell. When he stepped outside, a gentle cold evening breeze brushed past him, refreshing him from top to bottom. For a few moments, he stood still to feel the soothing breeze, becoming absorbed in the music of crickets, letting the gentle energy of nature wash in. He looked up at the sky to see countless stars glistening in the sky. Do you need a moment? Seeing him standing still, she asked, almost chuckling. Hoo-hoo-hoo, the baby dragon watched the evening sky and then, it said something, brushing its scaly nose on Michael's chin. What's he saying? That lizard is saying that looking at this sky makes him hungry. Hoo-hoo, the baby dragon nodded, making puppy eyes. You just ate. No meat for your little scaly butt. Michael flicked the baby dragon on its forehead, making Gaia grin in joy. Ho-ho. The baby dragon protested by head-butting him as he went to the ground. Considering the sun has long disappeared into the horizon, most of the workers went to their tents while some went into the forest to hunt for fresh meat. After reaching the construction site, Michael stood in the middle staring at all the dummies around him. Gaia kept her distance to protect her clothes from getting burned. Ring of fire, he mumbled these words under his breath, controlling the arch energy in his body. The next moment, a golden circle with many inscriptions appeared in the form of a holograph on the ground around Michael. Soon, the golden circle disappeared as waves of blazing fire swept the 5m radius area. Unlike the spells he bought from the system, he had a hard time controlling the flame blazes' direction and power. Those blazes didn't sweep across the area around him in a perfect circle but swept across chaotically. While he was trying to exact control over the blazes, from the ground appeared a circle of fire, turning everything into ashes within the circle except him. The blazes had already charcoaled the dummies, but the circle of fire was hot, too hot to the point that it turned even the mud and dirt into ash. From afar, drops of sweat could be seen on Gaia's face. She felt the temperature rise significantly, to the point she had to use arch energy to protect her skin from getting burned. What stunned her was she is a core formation warrior while the spellcaster Michael was just a body-strengthening stage warrior, yet, the spell had this effect on her. Even a group of body-strengthening stage warriors with no defense shield around them wouldn't be able to withstand the heat for more than a couple of seconds if he used all of his arch energy. At the moment, he was only using half of his energy to get the hang of this spell. 52% mastery. Michael willed the system to show mastery over this spell. He still had a long way to go before reaching 100%. The only way to reach 100% was to practice this spell every single day and increase the arch energy he put into the spell little by little. A bunch of netherals would make a fine target for this spell, Michael thought. The mere thought of him killing hundreds of netherals to farm experience points gave him goosebumps. It was the ultimate shortcut to reach the pinnacle. After this, you really should stop learning new spells, Gaia warned him after the hot blazing fire around him faded away. I don't know you know this or not, but learning too many spells will cause your arch energy to become weak and damage your brain. How many spells should one learn? Michael asked. It depends on one's cultivation level and the power of the spell. Typically, a body-strengthening stage cultivator should learn only 4 to 5 spells. He was an exception because of the system, but even he had to stop learning any more new spells before reaching the next stage. If not for this restriction, he would have learned all the spells he got from the cave, turning into an absolute monster. This is for the best. I should upgrade the already existing spells before learning new spells. Not that I need to learn new spells, he thought inside. For the next few seconds, he focused on all his spells before creasing his brows. I need to figure out a way to utilize the Wind Blast spell. In his arsenal, Wind Blast was the least used as well as least powerful spell. The system rewarded him with this spell, and although he didn't use badass points on this spell, this still occupied his arsenal of spells, preventing him from learning a new spell. From tomorrow, you're gonna help me train my sword skills. As a standalone spell, Wind Blast was a weak spell, but he decided to combine this spell with his sword skills. Using one hand to swing the sword and the other to cast the Wind Blast might be the best way to utilize the full potential of the spell. Killing the netherals in the abyssal might also give him a new perspective about the Wind Blast spell. Get ready to get your ass kicked, Ghost. When he uttered his name, she grinned devilishly, almost certain she was going to beat the heck out of him tomorrow. Oh, Michael smiled inside and stepped closer to her. Wind Blast, aw. The sudden blast of wind almost lifted her skirt up. She was caught off guard. Lightning dash, stop you bastard, she screamed, chasing him behind to make him pay for what he just did. The halo of the horizon arrived with golden grace. On the large luxurious bed of Michael, he was sleeping with the baby dragon curled up on his chest. Last night was a great exercise making Gaia chase him around the sect. Even without a spell like lightning dash, the snake was damn fast. After they got tired, they laid on the green grassland staring at the night sky before they came to their home, searching for the comfort of the bed. While he was rolling on his bed, he heard knocks on his door. Brother Ghost, Sister Elia, wake up. Michael opened his eyes. He knew it was Jack outside the door. His voice contained a hint of panic. What all little shit? Gaia yawned, slowly opening her eyes. Sister Elia, wake up. The Baron and his men are on their way here. Soon, the sleepiness in their eyes disappeared. Instead, an amused expression flashed across their faces. So they finally decided to show up, huh? Michael put on his black transparent full-sleeve shirt. Ooh. The baby dragon also yawned, blinking his eyes. He woke up. Come on, baby dragon, we have a bitch to deal with. As these words escaped his mouth, he flicked his wrist as 2 green pills appeared in his hand. The 2 pills were the size of a baby's fist. They radiated a smell of rusted iron. The baby dragon twitched its mouth when he took a whiff. Michael tossed the pill into his mouth. Swallowing the pill, he made his way to receive the Baron and his men. Chapter 134. With the baby dragon on his shoulder and Gaia behind him, he opened the door to see the panic-stricken Jack. A couple of drops of sweat could be seen on his face. What are you afraid of? It's just Baron and his men, Michael said, stepping out of his home. He looked at the rising sun on the horizon. Today, sell the usual stuff. He'll make the new pills and potions later, but Brother Dash, don't worry about the Baron. He'll deal with them. Get the fuck out of here. Gaia's tone gave Jack no space to continue. He could only run away from her before she the crap out of him. Do you sense them? His calm face turned cold after Jack left. Gaia nodded. The baby dragon's round pupils became vertical slits, sensing the powerful presence around them. Yes, we are surrounded, but I don't know how many. 56 powerful figures. Might be more than that. His environmental scanning was just at level 2, therefore, it could only sense a limited number of powerful hostiles around him. If they were at the core formation stage, he would have detected their cultivation level, but he was unable to sense their cultivation level, which meant they were stronger than the core formation stage. Among the 56 he could sense, some of them were concealing themselves and floating directly above them in the sky, some were hiding in the ocean of trees around them. Humph, do they think it's easy to catch me? Michael snickered inside his mind. Can you sense their cultivation level? Gaia asked. She didn't show it on her face that they noticed the presence. All of them are above the core formation stage. He had already paid the system to prevent anyone from eavesdropping on their conversation in case these unknown figures were doing just that. If they were eavesdropping, they would hear nothing but some random conversation about life and the sect. Michael walked to the side, to a place where the customers could clearly see the events unfold so he could earn badass points utilizing this situation. Eventually, after waiting for the Baron and his men, Michael saw a large crowd of soldiers adorning full metal armor marching up the steps, to meet him. At the same time, he looked up to see an object soaring through the sky. There she is, Michael snickered, recognizing the person atop the flying sword, Selena. The Baron and his men locked their eyes with him. They kept marching towards him until Selena landed in front of them with a loud thud. Even from a distance, he could see those bloodshot eyes, veins protruding on her face. Her neatly combed hair was disheveled. Behind Selena, an emaciated man walking with the men, Michael almost failed to recognize this man, Baron Totonk. He was walking like a zombie. There was no life in those swollen eyes of his. His previously sturdy body now became the body of a starved man. Killing Jane really did a number on him, Michael thought. Waiting for them, he stood there, his hair fluttering back in the wind, accompanied by Gaia and the baby dragon on his shoulder. The men halted their steps, keeping a 10-meter distance from Michael and Gaia. There were a few gasps and murmurs when they saw the majestic creature sitting on his shoulder. However, Selena's eyes didn't look like anything or anyone but Ghost. She locked her eyes with him. Within those bloodshot eyes, a flash of shock emerged and disappeared. Not impressed, Michael thought she would have reached at least the core formation stage, but seeing her body strengthening stage level 9 cultivation level, he was disappointed. "Young miss, let me talk," a wrinkly old man with a slightly hunched back pressed Selena's hand and said. The old man then turned his gaze at Michael. "Young Master Ghost, Bastin, a servant of the Baron, I heard about what happened, Bastin, it's terrible," Michael calmly said. Looking at his nonchalant face, Selena shivered in rage. However, her mind refused to attack him, just like she did when dealing with those who had grudges with Jane. She attacked first and asked questions later. The first time they met, he was just a foundation stage cultivator while she was a body-strengthening stage warrior. At that time, she could have easily killed him, but now, the tables have turned. "Words cannot make any of you feel better. Is there something I can do to help you, Bastin?" Since Baron Totonk seemed lifeless, Michael decided to talk with this old man instead of the Baron himself. "Grandpa Bastin, let me deal with this BAS-. I assume you're not here to fight me, Selena," Michael interjected before she could finish her sentence. "Young miss, please." The old man quickly pressed Selena's fist tightly and gave Michael an apologetic look. "Young master, we are here to..." The old man's voice trailed away. "You're here to interrogate me, right?" Michael finished the old man's thought. The old man sighed, slowly nodding. "Young Master Ghost, I hope you understand the situation. We only want to find the person responsible for..." Again, the old man didn't finish his sentence, looking at the Baron beside him. The Baron had lost all of his energy and will to live after seeing his beloved daughter hanging in front of his manor, brutally killed. No matter how strong he was, at the end of the day, he was a loving father. Jane's death broke him from within. The old man knew the Baron had died that day, and the man with them is just a vessel. "You're wasting your time, Bastin. You very well know that I was in the Nether Realm at that time," said Michael. "What's happening? Why is the Baron here? Whoa, what's up with the platoon of men? Hey, I think they are suspecting Brother Ghost with the murder of Jane." "Bullshit. Everyone knows it was the devil of Bredia, Lucifer, who killed her. Brother Ghost beat the shit out of her personal guards, so it's natural for them to investigate him. Except Brother Ghost was in the Nether Realm when Lucifer killed her, unless Brother Ghost know a way to be in two different realms at the same time." Seeing the commotion, the disciples gathered around them. The old man and the Baron's men heard the chattering and couldn't help but agree with the disciples. The men knew Selena is wasting time with Ghost when she could focus the investigation on someone else. Jane's 2 uncles and 3 brothers were unable to come to her funeral as they were leading the army of Bridia against the war with Kingdom Lavia. Even if they wanted to come, the king wouldn't permit them unless they are fine with getting their heads cut for abandoning their king during the war. Only Selena and her family were there to console the Baron as well as seek justice personally for Jane. "You're a freak." Selena lost her patience. She shouted in anger, "You could have found a way to kill her." "This is not the time," Michael simply waved his hand, ignoring her. "Since you're here even though you know I was in the Nether Realm, I assume you have a reason to be here." Many men behind Baron were surprised to see the way he was handling Selena and the situation. He was not like the other prodigies or the genius youths they had encountered before. If someone else was in his shoes, they would have lost their calm because it was obvious that he didn't kill her. "Young miss," the old man glared at Selena, this time there was anger in his eyes. Selena swallowed her rage, giving the chance for Grandpa Baston to handle the situation. The old man flicked his situation, taking out a greenish glistening pill. As an alchemist, he instantly recognized the pill and its purity level, 85% pure pill, which meant it was concocted by the Pill King Gabriel himself. Truth exactor, huh? The Baron men tensed when the old man took out the pill. This pill was used only in situations such as murder trials, judging treason cases. Except for those who were charged with the above accusations, it's considered a privacy invasion, which was a crime punishable by either death or decades of imprisonment, if the victim went to the king or to the guardians to complain. The disciples stepped back a little, fearing that Ghost would lose his calm and start attacking the Baron's men. His expression changed, a cold look submerged on his face before sighing, "I understand, I was one of the people who had quarrels with Jane. Besides, I understand the Baron's situation and respect him. Baston, give me the pill." The old man was stunned by his words. He really thought he would decline to take the pill. Even if he refused to take the pill, they had no right to force him to. It was a crime after all. "Ghost, you don't have to do that." Gaia pretended to be mad as the baby dragon hissed at the old man. "Who?" "It's okay, Elia, the fewer the suspects, the closer they would get to Lucifer. Everyone has to help however they can to stop an evil like that." His image in everyone's hearts rose up. The Baron's men began to respect and admire this youngster. Despite his ruthlessness, he wanted to be on the side of good. Really? Even the system couldn't stay silent hearing him speak like an innocent, upright person. Chapter 135, Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 600 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 200 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 700 badass points. He was surprised by numerous ding sounds in his mind. Was that badass? He questioned himself. Baston handed over the pill and a transparent stone to Michael with a thankful smile on his face. This stone was connected to the pill through arch energy. The one who took the pill had to keep the stone in her hand. Each lie that comes out of their mouth would make the stone glow red and greed for truth. Typically the pill's effect would last for 5 to 10 minutes, considering this was an 85% pure pill, the effect would at least last for 7 minutes. While holding the stone, he felt a strange sensation in his brain, but soon, the sensation disappeared. Let's start with an obvious lie, shall we? Michael smiled. I'm a 5-legged scorpion with thousands of beauties in my harem. Some of the disciples and the soldiers chuckled. The stone soon let out a bright red color, indicates the obvious. For everyone witnessing the scene, they thought that the pill was working, but Michael was controlling the signals radiated from his brain, hence controlling the outcome. The pill he took before he met them gave him this ability. When the red light dimmed, he said, "Now the truth. I'm a 5-star alchemist who won Heaven's Gate competition. This time, the stone glowed in green. Bastion, Selena, the pill is working. Now you can start asking the questions related to Jane." Seeing the calm look on his face, the baby dragon's pupils returned to their usual circular shape. Michael nudged the baby dragon's chin, waiting for Bastion to question him. "Where were you for the last couple of weeks?" Instead of Bastion, the one who asked the question was Selena. In the nether realm, the stone shined in green. No one among the disciples looked surprised because they knew he was there. Where else could he have gotten a baby dragon? Selena frowned. "Did you wish to harm Jane in any way?" The old man and the Baron's men locked their eyes with the stone, waiting for his answer. "No, I did not. After Baron came to me and apologized for her actions, I dropped that matter." Again the stone shined in greed, somewhat calming the volcano of anger inside Selena but not completely. "Did you dash soon?" When the stone lost its color, she asked another question but only to get interjected by Michael. "Look, I didn't kill Jane and I don't know who did it. I had no fucking idea that she's going to get killed. All of you are looking in the wrong place. Now I think this is enough proof for you." The stone kept emitting green light, making everyone around him sigh in relief. His face lost the smile. Instead, a cold look could be seen on his face. "Thank you for your understanding, young Master Ghost." Bastion bowed, giving an apologetic smile. "Now if you'll excuse me, I have places to be." He threw the stone towards Bastion. Gaia also took the same pill as Michael to neutralize the truth extractor in case Selena asked her to take the pill, but she didn't even look at Gaia. "Young miss, let's go," Bastion said. As they were turning back to leave, Michael sensed the powerful entities around him who stayed hidden also disappearing from his environmental scanning one by one. "The Holy Guard," Michael mumbled. He already knew the church is investigating Jane's murder, hoping to find Lucifer. He had heard about these Holy Guards from Gaia, even she knew so little about them except the Holy Guards are the Church's ultimate weapon. Apparently the church worships two gods, the sun god and the water god. He didn't care much about this religious institute until now as he tried to avoid mingling himself in the petty religious conflicts until he could get to a stage where they can't touch him. But this had changed now. He decided to get more information about this so-called church as well as the Holy Guards. After all, it was only a matter of time before Lucifer had to face this holy army. She should have asked me at least one question. She felt offended not to be noticed by Selena. "What are you all looking at?" she shouted at the customers who were gawking at them instead of buying the pills and potions. They immediately turned their gazes away from her. They all knew her temperament and did not want to piss off this bad-mouthed girl. "Well, add new products tomorrow, so don't forget to bring your pay cubes." Instantly her words caused a commotion among the nobles and the rich. "Miss, what are the new pills and potions?" One of them from the crowd shouted excitedly. "There will be wisdom potions, mind control pills, elemental resistance potions, perception pills, hallucination potions, camouflage potions, enhanced healing potion, and the potion you all younglings are desperately waiting for." She paused for a moment, staring at those eyes filled with anticipation. "The love potions, why? Finally. Hooray." Half of the crowd immediately threw their hands up and cheered. Most of them were single guys, obviously. However, Michael noticed some old grandpas grinning devilishly, which was creepy. Michael and Gaia laughed inside seeing the expressions on their faces. Most of them were thinking love potions would make their crush love them. However, the love potions don't work like that. The love potions would only work on someone if he already has some feelings for the other. Using the love potions was fairly simple. One has to put a single drop of their blood and make their crush drink. After drinking, the love potion would intensify the feelings for the other if one has any. For an instance, Selena had no feelings whatsoever for Michael, so no matter how many love potions he makes her drink, she wouldn't fall in love with Michael. However, it was a different matter for Gaia. During the nights, she would debate with herself to find whether she holds any feelings for him or not. It had been almost half a year since she started to be with him, He first rescued her from her fellow Nagas, helped her stay hidden, fed her, and more than anything, by curing her crippled cultivation, he saved her life. She felt it's natural for her to develop feelings for him, but still, she wanted to make sure of it. Hence she secretly planned to use the love potion on herself. Of course, she still has not completed her plot, as the potion required Ghost's blood. By asking him directly, she might get into trouble. After going home, spread the word. Finally, Gaia shouted before leaving for Rivertown with Michael. After the battle with the Netherals, the rumor had spread across the river town that this town is protected by Ghost, hence many people began to address Ghost as Ghost of Rivertown. Thanks to the rumors, more merchants and adventurers began to stop by Rivertown. Plus, the construction of the new fancy building at the place where Lucky Cat Tavern attracted travelers and such. For those native Rivertown people, the building the dwarven engineer was building for Ghost was nothing but a wonder in their eyes. Even though the workers didn't finish the construction yet, people could tell that it's a marvelous building that would raise the Rivertown's prestige by many folds. Because of the frequent merchant, adventurers, and travelers' visit, the local business boomed. The Rivertown people thanked Ghost for their prosperity, though he practically did nothing for them. He killed those Netherals not from but for him. Hey, it's young Master Ghost. Young Master Ghost is back. Good morning, young master, he's so handsome. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 600 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points, ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 200 badass points. People on the streets of Rivertown quickly greeted him and Gaia with a wide grin on their faces. Just by walking the streets, his reputation earned him badass points. This was why the system kept urging him to take risks, explore the world, and engage in battles. If this small town could give me 5,000 badass points just by walking through the streets, how much would I earn in the big cities? Michael's eyes glistened in glee. Master Ghost, you're back. Just when he was nearing the Lucky Cat Tavern, he heard a familiar voice and turned to see the golden-haired girl walking towards him, carrying a bunch of iron tools in her hands. How are you, Gloria? Thanks to Master Ghost, I have no worries. Good morning, Miss Elia, she answered Michael with a bright smile, and then, she greeted Gaia with the same bright smile. What are these? Asked Gaia. These are tools of Lord Fover. I just went to the smithy to get them fixed. Michael recognized none of these weird tools, he had never even seen them before. His curiosity piqued to see the 3-star builder and the restaurant he was building for them. Chapter 136. The air was filled with hammers hitting the stones and iron. Upon arriving at the construction site, Michael saw the bare bones of the building. The wooden planks, iron beams, and half-built walls which were glistening in the daylight radiated certain charm. The building resembled a rectangular prism. On the long sides, there were 5 arched windows. Each window was approximately 3 m wide and 7 m in height. On the front of the building, there was one arched door between unarched windows on each side. The building was lifted by a 3 m foundation so one could enjoy the view of the river clearly. On the far end of the building, Michael noticed the vents, stoves, and ovens being built by another set of workers. Michael walked up the few stairs to enter the building when he saw a couple of carriages stopping in front of the building. Both Gaia and Michael frowned at this sight. The carriages had scratches, burn marks, and cuts all over them. It was evident these carriages were attacked. Soon, people slowly came out of the carriages, wounded. This scene attracted the people of Rivertown. Few of them stepped forward to support the wounded soldiers. Gaia's face instantly turned cold the moment she saw the people taking out dead ones from the carriages. All the dead bodies had deep cuts, burned marks, and severed limbs. Following the dead bodies, a short sturdy man with a large beard jumped out of the carriages, carrying a huge battle axe. The short man compensated for his lack of height with his muscles. The man carried that huge-ass battle axe like it had no weight. Dwarf, Michael mumbled under his breath. This was the first time he had seen a dwarf in real life. The dwarf was exactly like one of the dwarves in the Lord of the Rings movies. Fover, what happened? Gaia asked as the dwarf put the battle axe on the ground, producing a loud thud sound. Bandits happened, lass. Ye told us there be nae bandits between here and Bradford. Bandits? Where? After Jane sent bandits to harass their customers, Gaia personally went to the forest surrounding the Sunrise sect as well as the forest surrounding the river town to kill every single bandit. She was sure there are no bandits to harass them until now. Fucking bloody beast men, ambushed us near the moon goddess temple. These puny humans stood nae chance against their guerrilla attack, cursed Fover, failing to notice Michael in the heat of the moment. Beast men wouldn't usually enter a human kingdom. Ghost, we have to investigate this. Only when she mentioned the name Ghost, the dwarf turned his gaze at Michael. For a second, Fover just stared at him to sense his cultivation level. Soon, his eyes slightly widened in surprise. So ye be that famous Ghost o' River Town? Yeah, lad, you need to do something about these bandits. They already destroyed most o' the materials I needed to finish the building, destroyed the glasses. I'm gonna rip them to pieces. Veins popped on Gaia's face. Considering this plan of Michael's required more glasses, even than the stones, this shipment was extremely important. These were not normal glasses. The dwarf ordered them, glassmakers, to custom build the glasses, which cost them a huge chunk of gold coins. Go and check out the forests, but I guess they are long gone by now. I have to look, she said and rushed towards the place where they left the Pegasus. Master Ghost. Soon after Gaia left, his two henchmen came towards him. Both Daniel and Ricky suffered wounds. Daniel had a deep cut running across his chest, his brown tunic was drenched in blood while Ricky limped, holding the deep cut on his thigh. Michael quickly willed the system to give him the healing potion in the storage. In a flash, 2 vials of healing potion appeared in his hand. Here, take this. Both of them shuddered. The thought of a single vial of healing potions cost 9,000 gold coins prevented their hands from reaching out to take the healing potions. Drink it, it's an order. Thinking about those bandits who almost killed his 2 loyal men, Michael wanted to flay the bandits alive. He could simply buy materials, but loyal men like them were hard to find. Daniel opened up the vial, slowly pouring the potion into his mouth. Their wounds closed up at a swift pace. The dwarf was surprised he wasted 2 valuable potions on these 2 commoners. After their wounds healed up, Michael retrieved a couple of more healing potions, mixed them in the water and distribute the water to the wounded. For those who lost their lives, Daniel and Ricky saw a large pouch of coins appear in his hand. Give their families 2,000 gold coins. His words instantly caused the people to go crazy. There were gasps and muttering among the crowd. Even if they were alive, they wouldn't have earned 1,000 gold coins in their lifetime by working on the construction sites, not to mention 2,000 gold coins. He just changed their lives. With this amount, their families could live their entire lives without ever going to work. As far as he was concerned, if he didn't compensate them with a handsome amount, workers might avoid working for him in the future as they might fear for their lives. But now, they would gladly give their life thinking their families would get richer and live their life with no worries. Many wives would gladly take 2,000 gold coins instead of their drunk husbands, any time of the day. After all, for Michael, even 20,000 gold coins weren't much compared to his grand plans. He wanted the restaurant to be up and running as soon as possible. As for those who survived, you will receive 50 gold coins for the inconvenience. Those who survived bowed and grinned in glee despite the excruciating pain. Although it was nowhere near the amount 2,000, at least they lived to enjoy the 50 gold coins. Lad, what a boot me. Ye need to compensate me too, asked Fover, smirking. I will compensate you handsomely when you lose a few limbs in the next bandit attack. You were right. I didn't find anything except this. While he was making new batches of pills and potions back at his home, Gaia came rushing into his room. Michael looked at the baby dragon as he hopped towards Gaia and grabbed the medallion in her hand with his mouth. He then whooped back at Michael. The medallion was black, made of high-quality black iron. On its surface, a wolf's head etched onto its surface. Those who attacked Fover is not bandits, human, it's the Grim Reapers. Michael did not utter a word but waited for her to explain. When you need beasts, bandits, and problems like that disappear, you go to Adventurers Guild. When you need a noble to disappear or even a king disappear, you go to the Grim Reapers. If you have enough gold coins, no matter what evil shit you want to do, they will do it for you. Someone paid them to attack the shipment, but who? He scratched the baby dragon's chin, thinking about who might have done this deed. The only enemy he had until now was Jane. Obviously, she couldn't have hired the Grim Reapers. He didn't think Selena would have done this either. You said they'd do anything right. For the right amount, she said. Fover said the glassmakers may have extra supplies we need. Buy them and bring them to Fover personally. What will you do? For now, I will finish all these, and then, well, go to Aragoth to seal the deal, said Michael, showing no emotions on his face. So well, do nothing about this? She questioned him, only to see him shake his head. Grim Reapers won't tell us who hired them in the first place, right? The Grim Reapers sounded just like the dark underworld back on Earth. Although he only killed a certain group of people, there were assassins and fixers who would kill or do anything for the right amount, but the dark underworld would not reveal anything about who hired them to do the job, to anyone. This secrecy what made the dark underworld extremely powerful, and if his instincts were correct, the Grim Reapers would follow the same rules. His assumption was proven right when she nodded. Nope, those bastards value client confidentiality more than anything. If we went there asking for this information, they would either try to kill us or ban us from using their services in the future. Then there's nothing we can do except trying to hire them to protect our carriages. This might work if this was a one-time task, but if someone hired them to attack our carriages every time, her voice trailed off but the killing intent in her eyes intensified. Then well, simply hire the adventurers to do the job for now. Gaia creased her brows. What do you mean for now? Today they attacked my men, I won't simply forget it. One day, he'll visit them, kill every single one of the Reapers who did this, not as Ghost but as Lucifer. Gaia grinned devilishly, thinking about the day they'd seek revenge against the infamous Grim Reapers. After Gaia left the room, he finished making pills and potions enough to sustain the Majestic for a week. He stood up, the baby dragon on his shoulder. Ruby Cuisine branch manager, Michael mumbled under his breath, before dashing out of the room. Chapter 137. Inside Michael's house, the trio was laying on the sofa, munching on the egg rolls Raylene prepared for them as snacks. The baby dragon was clutching onto its roll, fretting that Gaia would steal it from him. Both of them just came back home after getting their job done. Fortunately, the glassmakers kept extra custom-made glasses to sell on the sidelines, therefore, she was able to buy the glasses from them and personally deliver them to Fover, resuming the construction work. Michael, on the other hand, went to Bradford searching for the branch manager of Ruby Cuisine, his one major competitor. Considering the Holy Guards, members of the Guardian Guild, and soldiers were swarming the city, the branch manager came to oversee the business personally. This enabled Michael to disguise himself as passing by and place a surveillance bug he bought from the system on the branch manager. Now he had to link the bug to the monitoring orb. They were already using the monitoring orb to monitor the orc in the abyssal. Give me the orb I gave you. She was keeping the orb in the linked space ring. She flicked her wrist as a white orb filled with smoke appeared on the table before them. The baby dragon let out a hissing sound in a momentary surprise before turning his focus on the roll in his claws. The next moment, Michael placed his hand on the orb, willing the system to establish a connection between the monitoring orb and the bug he placed. Connection successfully established. After he heard the system's now not-so-robotic voice, the white smoke inside the orb slowly faded away to reveal a neatly organized room. On the orb, Michael and Gaia saw a pair of hands up close, writing reports under the candlelight. The pair of hands belonged to the branch manager. Thanks to the bug, they would see anything he sees, listen to anything he listens. For Michael, it reminded him of the first-person games he played back on Earth. You didn't place anything on me, right? Following the branch manager, Michael willed the orb to show the orc. Gaia placed a bug on the orc exactly like the bug Michael placed on the branch manager, and also, with Michael's help, she drew symbols on the walls around the orc. These symbols were practically like the CCTV cameras. They recorded the orc's room, sending a live feed to the monitoring orb. At the moment, they could see the orc scribbling and reading parchments. Gaia bought him those parchments as he wanted them to summon netherals into this world. I still don't trust that orc, human, said Gaia, creasing her brows. We don't need to trust him, we just need his ability to summon netherals. After the system went haywire when he tried to recruit the orc as his subordinate, he ultimately decided not to try that again. That didn't mean he had no ways to make sure the orc stays in line. As far as the orc serves him loyally, Michael would give the orc a seat in the organization in the future. If he didn't, he would simply kill the orc and be done with him. After all, killing netherals was not only the way he could gain experience points. Alright, it's time I met the orc again. Realizing they were preparing to go to a new place, the baby dragon excitedly bounced up and down. Sorry baby dragon, I can't bring you with me yet. For now, stay with sect leader Claire. The baby dragon protested, but ultimately he nodded like an obedient child. Good boy, Michael patted on his scaly head. He then took the baby dragon with him to drop him off at Claire's home before going to the dark forest. Lord Lucifer, Your Highness, Michael was sitting on his abyssal throne when Delar came to greet him. Gaia stood beside Michael wearing the female version of Lucifer's suit of armor. Seeing the two pairs of red eyes staring straight at him, Delar couldn't help but shiver in fear. Delar sensed the overwhelming power of a core formation level 8 warrior radiating from the woman who called herself the Dark Queen, hence he addressed her as Your Highness. Michael kept gently tapping the dwarven skull attached to the throne's handle. Delar, how many netherals are you able to summon here? Even without any fear toxin, the voice of Lucifer sent a chill crawling through Delar's spine. 30 netherals, Lord Lucifer. Delar stirred, afraid of disappointing the devil in front of him. Unlike the Dark Queen beside Lucifer, Delar was unable to sense Lucifer's cultivation level. Only a handful of experts were able to hide their cultivation level completely, which meant Lucifer is one of those powerhouses. When Michael upgraded the system to version 2, the masking function's duration was 10 minutes. In version 3, the system was able to mask his cultivation for 20 minutes with a cooldown period of 30 minutes. Their level. Body strengthening stage, I can summon level 7 netherals, 7,000 for each netheral, 210,000. Just when he was grinning behind the mask in glee, Delar opened his mouth to ruin the moment. For once a month, Lord Lucifer, incompetent. The moment these words escaped Delar's mouth, he was pulled by a force towards Dark Queen. She grabbed him by the neck, lifting him in the sky. Your Highness, anything more dash, let him speak. Queen. Michael liked the name Dark Queen. In the future, when he starts his shadow organization, he would be known as Dark Lord Lucifer while she would be known as Dark Queen after Michael's order. Delar was thrown away by Gaia like a pebble. Delar slowly picked himself up, cursing the woman in his heart. State your reason, Delar, Michael asked without showing his disappointment in his tone. Anything. Summoning more than 30 netherals in a month would alert the Guardians, Lord Lucifer. Somehow, they can detect the trace of the summoning magic. Delar explained the reason. It was a damn good reason. Though Michael was disappointed at the fact he could only earn 210,000 experience points plus the experience points from absorbing the cores, he decided not to take any chances in greed and get caught by the Guardians. Besides, with this amount of experience points, he would be able to level up every 1 or 2 months. You're too greedy, host. Shut up, system. He scowled back at the system in his mind after hearing its snarky comment. How long will it take to summon the netherals? The ritual will take 30 to 40 minutes. Lord Lucifer, start the ritual in one of the halls here. Go. He dismissed Delar with a wave of his hands. After Delar disappeared from his sight, he willed the system to turn off the masking function. 30 netherals, is this enough for you to get stronger? What if we mess with his mind and exchange him for a huge pile of gold? She suggested, licking her lips inside the mask. It's enough, Queen. That orc is worth way more than any amount of gold, she sighed and nodded. In her mind, he would be ever wrong, and even if he asked her to follow him into the deepest of hell, she would follow him, asking no question. When are you planning to give me one like that? Her eyes were locked onto the black metal coils around his wrist. These coils were not just coils but superconductors that had zero resistance to electrical flow. By sending the electricity created by the spell Ignitia through these superconducting coils and with the help of the system, he was able to create a super magnet, which was how Michael pulled from the hands of Von Dun's men. I need a new weapon system. I can't be seen using a sword. He entered the system store to buy a weapon to use when he turns into Lucifer. What kind of weapon are you looking for, host? Not a sword, but I should be able to utilize my sword mastery when using this weapon. Hearing Michael's preferences, the system began its search. Soon, a glow appeared in front of Michael's eyes as the glow slowly turned into a weapon, a warhammer. The warhammer in front of him was made of entirely black metal. It possessed one blunt dented face with a sharp beak on the opposite side of the blunt face. The warhammer looked heavy, and the glowing inscriptions, runes, and symbols on its surface gave a deadly look to the hammer. Weapon name, Doombringer, Heavy, Class, Rare Upgrade Requirements, 3-star Blacksmith, 3-star Runemaster, Ostium Ore, the Blood of a Forest Dragon, Underworld Fire Core/Ancient Ice Core. Price, 14,000 badass points. Does the host wish to buy the Doombringer? Host Contrail used the weapon for 10 minutes. A golden notification box with blue letters appeared in front of him. His eyes widened in surprise. System, make the warhammer look old, ancient, and put it somewhere in my room. So Gaia won't suspect where the Doombringer comes from. Yes, then it will be 14,500 badass points. The system sounded extremely excited for some reason. Do it. Michael long lost his drive to bitch with the system as he calmly said. After exiting the system, he looked up at Gaia. Go and make sure Dalar isn't trying anything funny. What are you gonna do? It'll be in my room, casting the masking spell on myself again. Don't take longer or I'll start killing them. She teased him before leaving the throne hall to find Dalar. I hope you like Lucifer's new weapon, but if you feel slightly disappointed, I hope you're not. Don't worry, check out the required materials to upgrade the warhammer. Chapter 138. Look what I found in my room. Michael came to the northern hall in the abyssal to meet Dalar and Gaia. In his hand, she saw a heavy warhammer. The warhammer seemed ancient, old, and powerful. It was adorned with silvery symbols and runes from the head to tail. Where did you dash? She asked, only to get interjected by Michael. Behind one of the shelves. I think it was left behind by them, he said. Gaia understood that by them, he referred to the Order of Death. Dalar, where are the netherals? The hall was spacious, just like the hall where there was a small lake and waterfall. This hall was also a pocket dimension. This much space couldn't be explained otherwise. In the center of the hall, a large 7m radius magic circle with runes could be seen. The runes on the circle were glowing, producing a mild humming sound. If you give the world, they will appear here, Lord Lucifer. Dalar bowed deeply. Michael clutched the new warhammer tightly, then he nodded, preparing to slaughter the netherals, so he could reach the next level. Dalar closed his eyes, muttered a few words. Soon, the circle started to glow brighter and brighter. Boom! The next moment, the golden circle hovered above the ground before exploding into millions of tiny orbs of light. When the light faded away, 30 netherals with human traits stood at the place where the circle was. Dalar, order them to attack me. These netherals wouldn't do anything until Dalar ordered them to do something. If Michael only desired experience points, he could have simply let Gaia kill the netherals, earning the EXP doing nothing. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to increase his sword mastery as well as train his body and mind in a real battle. For an assassin like him, it was essential to train vigorously to keep the skills sharp. Yes, Lord Lucifer, Dalar bowed. Kill him. Gaia creased her brows, seeing the orc issuing order to kill him instead of just attacking him. A sudden flash of murderous intent ran across Dalar's face. He quickly hid his internet, but Gaia noticed it. Michael noticed this but said nothing of it. For now, he didn't care about the orc's loyalty. After all, Dalar had to escape the dark forest before even thinking to betray him except if he wasn't immune to the fear toxin, so escaping was not an option. Step aside, Michael's biceps flexed, stretching his black suit due to the weight of the warhammer. It was damn heavy and required all of his strength to lift it from the ground, yet, he didn't use his both arms because in the future he wanted to swing the warhammer in one hand and the sword in the other or dual-wield two warhammers. Gaia was ready to dash forward in case they overwhelmed him with their numbers. After all, he was a body-straightening level 4 warrior while each netheril was at level 7. Locking their target, all 30 netherils rushed at him with no strategy or plan. Hands reached out at him to tear him apart. The putrid smell of all the netherils filled the hall, making Gaia twitch her nose. Death range, the hall became darker around Michael, giving a gloomy feeling to Dalar. Instantly, Michael flexed biceps loosened a bit as his body strength immediately doubled. When the netherils came closer, he swung the warhammer at one netheril. The dented face contacted with the netheril. The power and force were so great as the netheril's head exploded, splashing black goo, grayish brain matter across. Wow, even Michael was surprised at the raw power of this warhammer. He felt like breaking an eggshell as he swung the warhammer around him to send 5 nethers flying. The bone-crunching, blood-splattering sound was like music to his ears. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 200 badass points. There was no slowing in his movements. He threw the warhammer at the remaining netherils. His throw had enough momentum and power to bash 3 netherils back to back before falling to the ground with a loud thud sound. Dalar expected without his hammer, he would be vulnerable, at least a bit, but the next moment Michael lost his warhammer. He grabbed the nearby netheril and used the netheril as a weapon. He swung the netheril, forcing the other netherils to stumble back before ripping the netheril in his hand into 2 bloody pieces. His raw strength stunned Dalar as began to punch the netherils through their chest, grabbing the core in one hand and ripping their heads off in the other. It was a devilish display of brute strength and speed, but behind that brute force, Gaia could see the finesse. Each of his moves was calculated, very well thought. Soon, Michael punched his way through the netherils to his warhammer. Instead of bending his back to pick up the warhammer, he stomped the ground as the force made the warhammer fly right into his hand. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 300 badass points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully being a badass. The reward is 500 badass points. With a twist, he turned the warhammer to use the pointy head instead of the dented face. Like splitting a wood log into 2, he brought down the warhammer on one unfortunate netheril, except the head did not explode like before, but the head came separately with the warhammer. Another swing sent the head directly toward another netheril before Michael leaping into the air. In the mid-air, Michael grabbed the warhammer using both of his hands, and then, he hit the ground with all of his strength. It created a huge powerful shockwave that sent all the surrounding netherils flying into the walls. The entire hall trembled like an earthquake. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body-refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Continuous notification sounded in his mind. He saw the unmoving bodies of netherils lying on the ground in their own pool of black goo. After the shock wave attack, there were only 10 netherils. Some of them had white bloody bones sticking out of their bodies. Let's finish this. Michael grabbed the handle tightly. He then moved towards the only to spiral rapidly with the warhammer pointing at the netherils. His body soon blurred. In Dalar's eyes, Lucifer seemed like have turned himself into a mini cyclone. The mini cyclopes turned even darker, splattering black goo and brain matter across when the mindless netherils went straight into the cyclops. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body refining stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points. Ding! Congrats to the host for killing a body strengthening stage, level 7 netheril. The reward is 7,000 experience points as well as 100 badass points. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. The current level is body strengthening stage level 5. After smashing all the netherils, he lowered the warhammer, giving his hands the much needed rest. Maybe another 100 of these can give me a challenge. Dalar shivered after witnessing the display of pure strength and brute force. He was unable to pinpoint Lucifer's true strength, even after this one-side massacre. Lucifer killed those netherils he summoned with no hassle. There was not even a scratch on his body. He used no powerful spells but the warhammer and his own strength. Dalar could tell that those words he just spoke were nothing but true. He doubted even another 100 netherils could make him drop a sweat, let alone kill him. Take this as a reward for what you did. Michael flicked his wrist, taking out a batch of revitalizing pills and arch energy boosters. The batch had 10 of each pill. Since anyone could buy pills from the Majestic, he didn't fret about Dalar connecting Lucifer with Ghost. This will be enough for you to purify your body and help you speed up your cultivation, Michael said, sending the pills floating towards Dalar. Dalar didn't dare to refuse this. He just bowed deeply and accepted the pills. Burn those bodies. After giving one last order to Dalar, he made his way to his room with Gaia following him behind. Chapter 139 Man, we need a butler to maintain this place ASAP. While walking through the cobwebbed corridors of the Abyssal, Gaia said. Why don't you put up a sexy maid dress instead? She froze stunned. Behind the mask, he chuckled seeing her reaction. Why don't you ask Sadie, your pervy fuck? Michael received a punch on the shoulder for his suggestion from Gaia. You're still on that? Of course I'm still on that. I won't let you sleep around with bitches like her. Don't forget, there was a hint of possessiveness in her voice. In Michael's eyes, she was beyond beautiful, talented, funny. Moreover, she was very supportive of him. In simple terms, she was a perfect wife material for him. Therefore, if she made a move on him, Michael would gladly accept her as his better half. After all, he would choose her any time over a cold bitch like Alicia any time of the day. Yes ma'am, he giggled in return. Oh, she was surprised to hear his answer. She thought he would be a jerk and refuse. This gesture of him slightly made her feel elated, thinking that he might have feelings for her. Good, she put her hand around his neck before giving him a mild headbutt before they went to the teleporter to leave the dark forest. The next day, Michael left the Sunrise sect before the early light, putting on his Neo robes. They didn't use the flying swords but mounted the Pegasus to go to Aragoth. Of course, Gaia packed her snacks, which included varieties of appetizers, desserts, main courses, and beverages to drink. Since this was the baby dragon's first long trip, he was beyond excited. He showed his excitement by showering Michael with kisses and bites. Aragoth was located in Kingdom Draddle. Although Draddle was the nearby kingdom of Breedia, it was still 2 weeks flying from the Sunrise sect. The travel was mostly uneventful unless one counted the baby dragon throwing up occasionally because Gaia did barrel rolls with the Pegasus as well as the baby dragon biting her ears as a payback. 2 weeks later, around noon, Michael, baby dragon, and Gaia had finally arrived at the Aragoth. They landed at the foot of the tallest mountain that resembled the shape of a sword pointing at the sky itself. The surrounding had splendid mountain ranges and tall mountain peaks. The natural arch energy was rich on top of the mountain. The mountains were surrounded by light fog all year long. This place truly gave off a divine and superior feeling. This mountain range was called the Sword Mountains. Countless mountain peaks spread across the top of the Sword Mountain. Just like the founder of the Sunrise sect, it was said that the founder of the Aragoth had also discovered an underground energy vein here. Therefore, he occupied this mountain range and established the eternally prosperous Aragoth. The energy vein, aside from it being able to provide the best cultivation environment and gather natural energies, was also a representation of fortune. Many powerful sects and families had occupied land with energy veins. This was the reason why they were eternally prosperous and had produced countless geniuses. Another stunning place. Michael and Baby Dragon stared at the beautiful scenery filled with light fog. He couldn't help but praise it. Ho-ho, Baby Dragon nodded, basking in the beauty. Stop staring, you two. This is nothing compared to the Nagaland. Yeah, I know. You've said this almost 100 times now, Michael interjected, teasing her with a chuckle. She rolled her eyes and ascended to the ground. Go no further. Just when they had ascended half the mountain, they heard a loud shout, and then 3 young men dressed in white clothes with a symbol sword etched on their chests walked towards them with arrogant expressions. Identify yourselves and state your reason to be here at Aragoth. Is that a dragon? Michael's vision landed upon these 3 men, and he instantly discovered that they were only body-refining stage warriors. They were probably amateurs, as talented disciples of the Outer Circle wouldn't be guarding the entrance here. However, as the disciples of Aragoth, even just being a novice disciple would be enough to make anyone proud of themselves. There were talented people amongst the novice disciples, and many of the current Outer Circle disciples and Inner Circle disciples were actually novice disciples at one point. Hiss, the baby dragon hissed when he noticed the youngster reaching out to touch him. The youngster quickly took his hand back in sudden shock. It's okay, baby dragon. Michael brushed the baby dragon's chin, reassuring him before looking back at the 3 disciples. Name is Ghost and I'm here to meet your fellow disciples, Nathan Bradley. When hearing the names Ghost and Nathan, those who had an arrogant look on their faces immediately had a change in expression. Their faces turned gray, and they wished to slap themselves a few times. The young man in the center bowed his head. Brother Ghost, forgive us for not recognizing you. Senior brother Nathan told that you would come to meet him in this part of the land. Michael's name was not as famous as Noah's because Noah traveled to many places, killing people, making enemies left and right. In fact, he was on the wanted list of Aragoth before he joined the Guardians. However, these 3 were able to recognize Michael as they had close ties to the students of alchemy. Although Michael was unable to keep himself hidden from the world like back on Earth because of the system, he still liked to keep a low profile and make as few enemies as possible, unlike Noah. They followed the disciples through the paved roads into the inner section of the sect. Soon, they walked under the arch of the gate to discover wonderful and magnificent palaces. Cool, when he saw these parks, buildings, and rivers, he couldn't help but be amazed. Everything was perfect. The architecture of each building had its own magnificent style. Right at this moment, 2 Outer Circle disciples walked up from ahead. When they saw Michael, unlike these 3, they immediately recognized him and greeted him with eyes full of admiration and awe. Heavens! He is Ghost, the ghost of River Town. He looks so young, perhaps only 19 to 20 years old. What is that on his shoulder? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's a dragon. I heard he killed a body-strengthening warrior while he was only at the foundation stage. This man looks so delicate and handsome, it's hard to think that he is such a fierce man. Oh my god, I want to hold that dragon in my hands. Look at that chick beside him, she looks hot. I still can't believe he's a 5-freaking-star alchemist. Teacher Olivia won't shut up about him. That's it, I think she actually invited him here to give a special lecture to alchemy students. Lower your voice, idiot. Do you know how many young masters lost their lives coveting beauties like her? Wow! Ghost is so handsome, it would be nice if I could be his girlfriend. Shut up, slut. I heard Sadie and he has a thing between them. Why is he here? The surrounding disciples' discussions became heated. Although people were communicating privately with quiet voices, he had good hearing, so he heard every single word spoken. He couldn't help but laugh and shake his head. Among all these conversations, Gaia's ear twitched when she heard the two disciples mention the name Olivia. Her female instincts kicked in, thinking that Olivia might try to flirt with Ghost. Obviously, his fame of being the 5-star alchemist was spread across the alchemy circle of Aragoth. Alright, carry on with your own matters. Brother Ghost has gone through a long journey. I will need to bring him to Senior Brother Nathan's residence. In the future, if you have any questions regarding alchemy, I'm sure Brother Ghost will show you some guidance during his stay. The leading disciple waved at the disciples, then he continued leading him to the inner part. Along the way, they met several disciples who had been admiring him as a 5-star alchemist. All of them happily greeted him and were stunned looking at the baby dragon. The disciples of the Aragoth weren't idiots. Pleasing him may not give them any advantages, but it surely wouldn't bring them any disadvantages either. Eventually, they passed the area where all the living quarters of students were located. Behind the living quarters, a very fine courtyard was built. It was located at the top of the mountain, isolated from the living quarters area. Compared to the old shaggy home of his in the Sunrise sect, the house in front of looked like a palace. It was not suitable to call it a home but a bungalow. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and there was even a waterfall nearby. The scene was very soothing, the natural arch energy was rich, and it was isolated from all the noise coming from the living quarters area. This was simply the best place for cultivation, not that Michael needed a place like this to cultivate. Wait here, Brother Ghost, I'll go inside and bring Senior Brother Nathan. Cool. Michael stood there basking in the beauty while the trio of disciples went towards Nathan's house to inform him. Nathan's not home, Riker. Michael turned his gaze away from the waterfall to see a couple of girls walking towards him, shouting at the trio of disciples who were knocking on the door. They failed to notice Michael on the sidelines. Instead, they shouted at the trio. Teacher Olivia is making every disciple take the potion exams. Thank the sun god we were able to escape before she locks us in the potion lab. You're tuning in to the Path of the True Immortal YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.